Hola y bienvenidos a Amores Patos. Hi, welcome to Amores Patos. I'm your host, Anna.
And I'm your host, Faby. This is a podcast where two best friends get together and talk about
Duck facts,
duck lore,
duck trials, and DuckTales. Dun 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 dun. We are almost to the finale of DuckTales 2017.
Yeah, I'm sad. I get sad, yes. But then I'm like, I don't know, it hasn't hit me either.
It hasn't hit me. This is the penultimate episode for the finale, the three-part finale. And we are still kind of in like oblivious. We're floating in this kind of like blissful ignorance right now. Even though we know we've seen the finale, we know it's over.
Yeah,
but we're not there yet, so it hasn't hit us.
Yeah, I mean at this point I've only seen the finale twice.
Once for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean. It's coming, but not yet.
Not yet. And especially not yet because obviously we do not have a very set recording schedule.
No.
Especially now, right now I am finishing up my first year as a grad student and I am moving.
Yeah.
And I will be moving less than a week after Faby and I get back from Disneyland.
Yeah.
We're going to just brag about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, not to brag, but yeah.
To brag.
To go to Disneyland.
I waited in the virtual queue for 12 hours.
Yes.
I was trapped in the hillbilly hell of the Big Thunder Mountain virtual queue, as well as many other people.
Yeah, which I was telling Anna, I was like, if it was me, I would have lost my mind because I already hate like the actual physical queue for that ride.
It's our least favorite queue.
Yeah.
Because we've been stuck in it for how long was that? Hour and a half? It felt like a million. It felt like a million years.
That's the thing. Like I consider myself like a patient person, and I'm willing to wait like hours in a line for a ride. But
especially Big Thunder. But
yeah. But there's something about the Big Thunder line that just makes me lose my mind.
I feel like it feels like 10 degrees hotter whenever you're in that line.
Yeah,
and there's no cover.
There's no cover. And there's always, like, the illusion that there's not a long line. But it coils really, really tightly in the space that it's in. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, let's go in. Like, 2 hours later, you're just like, I'm losing it.
Yeah. And it's just, like, desert. I think it increases the feeling that you're in an actual desert.
Yeah.
Because they're very good with immersion.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean...
the park will be limited capacity, so long wait times shouldn't be too much of a problem, which is nice. Mm-hmm. It'll be our first time seeing each other in person in a year.
Yes.
Over a year.
Yeah. We last saw each other March 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Disneyland is kind of like a bonus. I was gonna fly down anyway, but so we were able to get tickets, and we're gonna be in Disneyland for 2 days. So if you want to follow us, if you want to check out our Twitter and our new Instagram, because probably posting photos and video of Disneyland. I know they've been they updated some stuff, and obviously we haven't been in the park for over a year. Our last trip was January 2020.
And even then, like, I think I went to just California Adventure for that trip.
Yeah, or was it, did we park hop? Or
you
did
guys
you just
part
do
top.
California Adventure?
I just did California Adventure.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, I won't say that was my only trip, because the week before I had been in Disney with my cousins. But yeah, I mean, we're both vaccinated, you know, we're ready to, like, we were just gonna hang out in California Adventure. Oh, wait, we were just gonna hang out downtown was the plan.
Yes. And then did we learn that Disney tickets were going to go on sale? Like, I think... Yeah, we learned that afterwards, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to try to get tickets. And I did. Since we'll be going to Disneyland, and then I'll be moving, our finale review episodes will be a bit more delayed than they already would have been.
Yeah.
We'll be splitting the finale into 3 episodes, and then we'll have another an additional episode that'll be like a retrospective.
Yeah.
Where we'll talk about like MVPs of each season, or like our favorite episodes from each season, and talk about those. Talk about, some of our favorite characters, favorite episodes, and we'll definitely be taking questions specifically for that retrospective episode.
Yeah. It'll be kind of our finale.
Yeah, it'll be our big kind of DuckTales send-off.
Yeah.
Which is obviously pretty bittersweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a nice journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
We're not going to get sad about it now. It's fine.
No.
And then obviously once we finish DuckTales, we will have a episode, probably a 2-parter about a Goofy movie.
Yes.
We're going to treat ourselves. We're talking about a Goofy movie.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into Disney Afternoon.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope y'all will join us there too.
Party never stops.
Yeah.
But yes, today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 22, The Life and Crimes of Scrooge McDuck. Alright, so the story for this episode is by Frank Angonis, Madison Bateman, Colleen Evanson, Christian Magalhaes, Ben Simon, and Bob Snow. Ooh. It was written by Bob Snow. The storyboards are by Stephanie Gonzaga, Crystal Ureta, Brandon Warren, and Haley Foster, and it was directed by Matthew Humphreys. Alright, for our watches, we have Judge Benzino Gasolini Esquire presiding.
Wait, you got a nice little place here. Only hotel, I'm never stay inside.
But not really, because he isn't here.
No. In our hearts.
And we get a DuckTales 1987 cameo in this episode.
And yet,
another one I wasn't expecting.
Oh yeah, at all.
Not the one we wanted.
I can never get over the fact that, like, if you Google Benzino Gasolini, we will show up.
We have brought his name out of the shadows. And he is now... His name is forever immortalized in infamy. He is only in 2 episodes as Benzino. He shows up in another one as in a soap opera, but I'm not going to really count that one because it's not actually Benzino.
Yeah.
2 episodes he shows up in. And
I think, like, some of y'all have given us, like, 2 pieces of Starkilles and Benzino fan art.
Which is incredible.
Beautiful.
We have made Benzino Gasolini a household name. You're welcome.
We have. Yeah, you're welcome, America.
Yes.
When are we going to get the Benzino lounge flyback?
We'll have to make it ourselves.
I just imagined, like, because Disneyland cast members are always so nice about complimenting, like, the things you're wearing. And then just having to, like, explain to them your handmade Benzino Gasolini backpack.
It would look so shit.
Yeah, but they would be so nice about it. Oh my god. But yeah.
Tragic. Anyway. Now it is time for the game show within our podcast. Now it is time for Duck or False. right, Faby, are you ready for your Duck or False question?
I never am, but let's go.
All right, so Magica Dispel's pet raven and familiar in American and Italian comics is named Gennarino.
False.
It's Duck.
Oh, no.
This one is a bit of a trick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gennarino is his name in the Italian comics.
Yeah.
This is a trick. What I chose the Italian name because Magica Dispel and her pet raven are massively more familiar in Italy than she is in the United States.
Of course.
Yes. So in English, Magica's pet raven and familiar in the comics is named Ratface, which is, loads of fun. Who knows what that's his name? So Ratface first debuted in Carl Barks's The Midas Touch, along with Magica Dispel in 1961. He went unnamed in that comic, but would, be named in later comics.
Yeah.
And like I said, Magica Dispel and Gennarino are much more popular in Italy, where there are comics devoted basically entirely to Magica Dispel. Like, she is the main character of many comic book series to this day.
Wow.
And the Italian name, Gennarino, is a reference to the city of Aemilia, Naples, of which San Gennaro is the patron saint. And Aemilia is Magica's name in the Italian comics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a nice name.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's fun little...
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time I say it in a long time, but the more you know.
Yes. I actually went to the Italian Scrooge comic Wikipedia, translated to English, just to get a bit more information, since there isn't really anything on Ratface or anything like that. So I got a bit of information on the Italian Magica comics.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a lot. Like, she's been
bet.
a prominent character since the 60s, so that's... Where are we in? 60 years? Whoa. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, the title of this episode is in itself also a reference.
Yes.
The life of crime. The life and crime of Scrooge McDuck, obviously a reference to the life and times of Scrooge McDuck. The comic book series by Don Rosa, which followed Scrooge's life from 1877 to 1947, though the episode itself has no actual references to the comic. No. It's just the name.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, I think, good, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else they can really pull from the comics that they haven't already, and that isn't... Yeah.
Like the worst thing.
That isn't, blatantly offensive, racist, sexist, all this fun stuff.
Yeah. So all that was left was the name.
Yeah. which has been referenced in the show a couple times, but this is the first time it's been obviously in the title of something. Yeah. Like this. Yes, because the crimes of Scrooge McDuck in the comic, as we've mentioned before, is the burning of a village to the ground, and obviously that is tied to the Bombi, which has a different origin here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is, I mean, good if they want to use the Bombi, create a completely new origin for him.
Yes. Yeah. No, I have not finished it. That's been the journey of this podcast. Why would
you admit that you still have not finished reading The Life and Time?
Can you believe when I was doing my hair to look presentable for Anna to record for this podcast, it suddenly hit me. Oh, yeah, that was the homework I had given to myself for this to finish reading.
3 years ago, you mean?
No, like in the last couple of weeks since we've been saying we're going to record, and yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Can't believe you admitted that on this, our DuckTales podcast. I'm leaving that in.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just don't want it to end.
You want the show to just go on and on so you never have to read Life and Time. Yeah. You never have to finish it.
I never have to finish it.
No.
Nah, I will. One day.
One day. And maybe in another year or so.
Yeah. When Anna comes to my house, it's like, give me my fucking book back.
Well, no, I'm going to buy the deluxe edition on Amazon, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Nice.
that $200. I'm gonna buy it though, because that is the kind of person I am.
That's like the Bible for this show.
It is.
We reference it a lot. And
Definitely.
Yeah.
And this is a reference to, it's been Life and Times.
Yeah.
Maybe 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But so, the episode itself.
Yes.
We start off kind of in the middle of... How would you even describe this? What's even happening?
Just, I guess, like, the monster of the week.
Like, sort of. Like, this is what we call in writing an anchor. This is the anchor for our story, the bookend.
Wow.
It starts and it ends our story. The Gribbles.
Yeah, and Scrooge is being chased by these little... They're like, I don't know.
These things. Okay. So the mansion is overrun by these little purple furry things that look like a combination of Tribbles from Star Trek, the Fizzgigs from Dark Crystal, and they have like a Mogwai Gremlins kind of vibe to them.
I think that's kind of like the reference, because someone references like taking care of them, like following specific instructions.
Yeah, so that's more like Gremlins, but they look like Fizzgigs from the Dark Crystal.
I don't know what that is, but
look it up. Look it up right now. Like, look it up, and you'll know.
How do I spell it?
It's like it sounds. Fizz, like a fizz of soda, and gig, like a work gig.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Google autocomplete.
Yes. Did you see them?
I did.
Yes, they are in the original Dark Crystal, and I want to say in the Dark Crystal, the reboot that was on Netflix.
I love this.
Really good.
This like header photo. It's like the thing with its mouth open, and then Jim Henson, the Jim Henson Company.
Like, look at it. It's beautiful. Yeah, they look a lot like Fizzgigs. They look straight up like Fizzgigs.
Yeah.
But they have like the coloring of Tribbles though.
Yeah. And they have like, I guess, cuter eyes, but...
Yeah, they don't have these like yellow soulless pits. And no hands. So
no,
Tribbles with no hands.
Mm-hmm. Right? They're just everywhere in the manor.
And we briefly see Dewey, Huey, and Webby, along with Scrooge and Louie, who will be our main characters of the episode.
Mm-hmm. They're all trying to get them under control, except for Louie. He's more concerned about, like, not damaging the guns.
Yes, because apparently Scrooge gave Louie one of these as a gift. Like, he got him a pet.
Mm-hmm.
And Louie proceeded to feed it after midnight, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Or get how do they reproduce? I think the Gremlins.
And you're the only one that's watched the Gremlins.
Yeah. I think the Gremlins. I'm trying to remember the order. I think the Gremlins get water on them and then they multiply.
Oh,
they little furry puffballs burst out of Gizmo, the main one. And then they were like little meaner looking ones, and then they eat, and then they look horrific.
Then they get fucked up.
Yeah, they get fucked up. And murder people! I didn't know the Gremlins murdered.
Yeah. I think I assumed they did.
They canonically kill, I remember, at least 2 people.
Yeah.
So fucked up.
Wow. Sorry. I have a screen cap at the moment of just this like Gribble just jumping with its mouth open behind Scrooge. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so Louie's getting into the exotic pet trade.
Yeah, what the fuck? And yeah, Scrooge is like, he didn't say I bought. I was almost gonna say he bought it for him. He gave it to Louie. So he can learn,
he definitely found it on like some journey. Like, oh, what's this fucking thing? I'm gonna take it home.
Yeah.
Teach Louie a responsibility.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess it's a lesson he still needs to learn, but...
I guess? It's weird that, we go back to, like, a Louie kind of lesson in this episode.
Yeah. But anyways, Louie obviously is not responsible.
It reminded me kind of Whiskers that Scrooge got them.
Oh, that was probably
Louie a pet.
it. Because you know how Scrooge loves giving people gifts that he would have liked, whatever.
Yeah.
It is Whiskers. He's like, oh, Louie can use the lesson.
Yes.
He can adore this ball of fur.
Except that this is a ball of fur with teeth and eyes, and I assume eats and does pet things. Yes.
And yeah. So Scrooge is yelling at Louie about, being responsible for one's actions, but he doesn't get to get very far because...
No, because, they're able to, because the Gribbles are chasing them, they leave, they run out of the foyer, and Scrooge, barricades the door behind him, leaving Huey, Dewey, and Webby to their fate.
Yeah.
To be eaten by Gribbles or whatever these things want to do.
Oh my god.
It's not established, how dangerous these things are.
No. It's are they just, gnawing on you, or are they eating?
Yeah. He barricades the door.
He just takes his favorite nephew and he runs. And so Louie tries to kind of play it off thank you, Uncle Scrooge, for saving my life. He's trying to talk his way out of it, and Scrooge is like, no, I'm not having any of that.
Yeah, we get the preamble to the lesson of the episode.
Yes.
Which is, in Scrooge's own words, owning up to your mistakes and apologizing and taking responsibility. But his lesson gets interrupted by an ominous knock at the front door.
Yeah, he's immediately going to be made a hypocrite.
Yep. And we get this, he's in a uniform. What is it? He's a bailiff? I don't know what the term for this would be.
I think, bailiff?
I think he is the bailiff, but I don't know if that's how you describe the uniform he's in. This kind of, kind of schlubby, skinny-looking dog at the door.
Yeah. He kind of looks like a beagle.
I was gonna say, he's got that kind of that saggy dog face and ears. Mm-hmm. What's the Basset Hound? Basset Hound. There we go. I was watching the episode. I'm like, what kind of dog is this?
Sorry, Basset Hound always makes you think of Madagascar. Because it's a stupid scene. Is it Madagascar 3? 2?
I watched Madagascar 2 a lot. Okay. And they have the monkey chain, and they're trying to communicate, and you have a telephone. The message from the penguins down to the monkeys gets distorted.
Yeah.
She's got a gun! Let's get out while we can! Pass it on! He said, let's have some fun and take out the dam. Basset Hound.
So we get this kind of, I don't know if schlubby is the term, but kind of wimpy looking.
Yeah.
Small man at the door.
And but you can't see his eyes is the thing. So he's wearing a wide brim hat, and it's just shadow over the eyes.
Yes. And he hands Scrooge a paper and tells him that he's been summoned.
Yes.
And to which Scrooge is that you mean served? For court.
Yeah. Lawsuit,
there we go.
Yeah.
And I love he kind of just casually corrects the guy, not who is who is bringing a lawsuit against me.
Scrooge, McDuck?
Yes?
Oh, you've been summoned.
Do what you mean served.
But the bailiff says no, and we see his eyes then.
Yeah.
And mystical yellow light kind of wraps around Scrooge and Louie, and they are transported out of the foyer.
Mm-hmm. And all that is left is the little summons paper. And they suddenly reappear in court.
Question mark? I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Because it seems at some point, it also seems like they're in a room, but then also, they're in a vast, impossible space.
Yeah, it's both.
Right? Because it looks like they themselves, what they're standing on is one side of a scale. Because we see we pan down and we see there's a actual scale in front of us with the justice figure in the center is an actual woman. Mm-hmm. And we see guilty and innocent on either side. But then, the actual ground they're standing on, is one side of a scale.
Yeah.
And then there's like almost like ocean waves around them, but nothing moves.
For some reason, it gives me like local Italian restaurant wallpaper vibes. But but like doors will open.
Doors will appear.
Yeah, doors will appear.
With that same yellow magic.
Yeah. It's mystical. It's a mystical court.
Yes, yeah. And so Scrooge and Louie appear at one table. I've only seen courtroom dramas, so I'm not going to know all the terms, but obviously there's the two tables for the defendants and for the prosecution.
Yes.
And Scrooge is the defendant, I think.
Yes.
And they appear at their table.
Mm-hmm.
And so far the prosecutor's table on the right is empty.
Mm-hmm. Wait, who's the plaintiff? That's a term.
The plaintiffs are the villains.
Okay.
Because Scrooge calls Doofus the prosecutor. That is like where I am basing this. I'm like, all right, I think that's correct.
Yes. Yeah. I should know this. I took environmental law class.
Yeah, dude, you should know this. My experience with courtrooms was it my freshman field trip to the San Diego courthouse? One day. Yeah. Our 1 day field trip to the San Diego courthouse, where we learned all the consequences of getting a DIY. Wait, it's not a DIY.
DUI.
DUI. You can tell I don't drink and drive.
Yourself.
I don't even know the term. Where I learned the consequences of a DUI, like progressively, when you get one, and then like your second DUI, and then like your third, you go to jail or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of set us loose in the San Diego courthouse to kind of just go and sit on court cases. Like a live court. Because anyone legally can just go and sit in one.
Yeah, we did that our senior year, but we weren't accompanied. My AP Gov teacher was just like, for extra credit, go to any of the nearby courts.
Yeah, like we went like as a class to like, we had like the one lesson thing with like a judge telling us the DUI thing. And then they set us loose.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we just went. So we went to like, my friends and I, we went to the LA court. But I guess we showed up at lunchtime, so we just had to sit there for a while.
Yes, I remember we went and had lunch in the cafeteria, in the courtroom cafeteria. With like lawyers and stuff sitting around us. That was fun.
Yeah. But I was just like, just taking my notes. I was like, I'm scared that someone's gonna be like, can you get out? But yeah.
So that is the extent of my experience with criminal law, or whatever. I mean, this episode puts very little effort into explaining how this bonkers court system works, so we're fine, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I should know better because environmental law, but...
You have no excuse, but I do.
It's one of those things that I always just kind of, like, confuse. Whatever. Excuse.
Exactly. So we see our bailiff, the kind of shrimpy basset hound, and we see him magically transform into a different species of dog.
Yeah.
Doberman. A very tall, buff Doberman.
With, like, green eye, like lime green eyes.
Yes.
And
he gets talons and sharp teeth. And so he's clearly like he's some sort of extension of this karmic court, which Scrooge has been summoned to.
Scrooge McDuck, you have been summoned to the all-powerful karmic court, where the good and the bad deeds of one's life are weighed by the cosmic scales of justice.
Preposterous!
And we get no explanation for what this karmic court is. Really? No. So it's where the good and bad deeds of people's lives are weighed, so karma, and that's why we have the literal scales. But this isn't. It's not super explained.
No, because the judge is literally justice.
Yes, like the embodiment of justice.
Yeah,
it's a living statue kind of thing. She doesn't speak.
No, she doesn't speak. The only one that speaks is the bailiff, and there's no jury.
And the bailiff looks kind of like hellish.
Yes.
Like, because his uniform gets like kind of spikes on the shoulders. His ears being all pointed. I'm like, what vibe am I supposed to be getting from this? He looks kind of like a demon.
But there's not like, that's the only like demonic imagery we get.
Yeah, like nothing else. Like, if there's one thing, if Scrooge is like in limbo, and then there's something like, I don't know, because like isn't it like in Greek mythology, like your life is, or is that Egyptian?
That's Egyptian.
Am I getting confused? Yeah,
that's Egyptian. Your heart gets weighed against a feather, right?
Yeah, right?
Yes.
But I feel there's also like some sort of judge in Greek mythology.
Because Lady Justice is based on...
Greek, right?
Yeah.
Greek mythology. Alright, we're getting sidetracked.
Anyways. Point is, who is this bailiff voiced by?
Right, Henry Winkler. I almost forgot to bring that up. Henry Winkler, otherwise known as the Fonz. And obviously he has been... in multiple other movies. I automatically think of the Fonz, the 1970s TV show that he was in. Happy Days, is that it?
I mean, the only thing I know the Fonz from is like parodies of the Fonz.
Yeah, Henry Winkler. Yeah. He's like an awesome dude, and he's just kind of, they just kind of have him as the bailiff. He's not going to do anything super special.
No, he has like a... Because you hear him speak, but there also has like a voice modulation. You can hear like a demonic voice that's also coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kind of does what the bailiff does.
Yeah. And so Scrooge demands to know who has brought charges against him. Mm-hmm. And we see a door magically appear and being wheeled out by no one?
Is it by no one?
I don't see anyone there. Yeah, no, nobody's there. It just kind of moves in. It is Doofus Drake.
Yes. Very much having a Hannibal Lecter moment.
Yeah, he's on a... What is it called?
Oh, dolly?
Dolly, I guess, yeah. With which he is strapped to in a straitjacket with the Hannibal Lecter mask.
Yeah.
I demand to know who is bringing forth these charges.
No, not him. No, anything but that. Send me back to be Gribblechow, please!
Doofus Drake for the prosecution.
Which, I mean, I don't think I expected a Hannibal reference in DuckTales ever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And yet here he is.
Yeah. And so Doofus Drake is the prosecutor. And
Louie's freaking out.
Yes. I mean, the last time we saw Doofus was... I mean, we saw him briefly in Astro Boy, but the last time we saw him in a significant role was Happy Birthday, Doofus Drake. Mm-hmm. He is here as our prosecutor. And he decided to be restrained and put in the Hannibal Lecter costume for fun.
Yes.
And the bailiff kind of just humored him.
Yeah. Yeah, because like the bailiff goes to take off like the mask and Scrooge is confused. Yeah, he's the one that asks like, why is he like, restrained?
So this case is the People versus Scrooge McDuck. Mm-hmm. With Doofus bringing forth the plaintiffs? Is that the term?
Yes, the plaintiffs. And the bailiff says that, Mr. Drake is seeking payments in the form of the fortune, all land that he owns, and the treasures.
Yes, and I'm like, what kind of court? What kind of court is it? You can just be like, yeah, I want all of this guy's stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's how court works.
No,
usually... I've listed my non-experience with courtrooms. And
usually, like, it's very set. Like, you have to argue, I want reparations for this one thing, and that's what I'm going to get. Yeah. But for everything that they mention, like, Scrooge gasps really loudly to the point where he just, like, passes out.
Yes, he collapses on top of the table. And Louie, of course, is upset that about the money.
Yeah.
While Scrooge is half collapsed on this table.
Yeah. And that's when Doofus lets Louie know why he's doing this.
Yes.
He's going after the money? What kind of sick game is this?
Oh, Llewellyn, so droll. You destroyed my inheritance by forcing me to share it with my family. So I found victims whose lives were similarly ruined by your wicked Gramunkpeepa Scrooge.
Louie was the one responsible for destroying his inheritance. You know, he forced him to share it with his family, you know, Boyd and his mom and dad. So he found victims, supposedly, whose lives were ruined in the same way as his by Scrooge. He calls him his, I can't even pronounce this, Gramunkel.
Oh my god, yeah, what he calls Scrooge.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, playing on his Gamimama thing.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna wait for this. Gramunk Peepaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, Louie's Gramunk Peepaw Scrooge.
Who's still passed out on the table.
Yes. How does that even, I don't even know where that came from.
Yeah, it was.
I guess he's saying like great uncle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I mean, Doofus doesn't give a shit really about Scrooge.
No.
But it's all about getting back at Louie.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting back at Louie by making sure Louie never gets an inheritance either.
Yeah, yeah. And so he says that he pulled that him and the rest of the plaintiffs pulled together their financial and supernatural resources to acquire this magical summons.
Yeah, and I'm like, how the fuck, like, blood? Like, was there like a blood sacrifice? How do you get this?
You have to stand at a crossroads facing west.
Yes.
And then you gotta tell them, I got $2.
Like, and then how did Doofus,
yeah.
Like, how did this one weird kid, like, get in touch with, not just Glomgold, I think would be the easiest to get in touch with, but Mob Eagle and Magica to spell. Like I was telling Faby, he put out an ad on television. Yeah. If you've ever been victimized by Scrooge McDuck, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Call here now.
Yeah.
That would have been funny to see, actually.
That would have. That's hilarious.
What if we just had a cut to that? So, yeah, we're not going to get an explanation for how they managed to get this magical summons.
No, it's here.
It's here. Yeah, who cares? We're here. And Doofus starts cackling about how he's going to finally get his revenge on Louie. Mm-hmm. And the bailiff, who hears all of this, and can clearly see that Doofus has a personal stake.
Yeah.
To put it lightly.
Yeah, there are ulterior motives to this.
Yeah, and that the bailiff kind of growls, but doesn't actually do anything about it.
No. He just doesn't like that it's specifically for revenge, even though it all is for revenge.
It's all for revenge. It's straight up all revenge.
Yeah. But then Doofus corrects himself, but it's like, no, I mean for justice. And that's fine. Like, it's all good then.
Yeah. And then Doofus keeps getting up in Louie's space.
Yeah, he's weird.
And like
he keeps touching him.
Yeah, like patting his head and just like being kind of creepy.
Yeah, he's real slimy. He's like a slimy lawyer.
Yeah, but not like in a fun way either.
No.
He's just being kind of a creep.
Yeah. Ugh.
And then Scrooge kind of like regains consciousness.
Yeah.
And starts yelling like, who the fuck is like bringing fucking accusations against me? He's never wronged anybody who didn't wrong him first. I love that very distinction. Like, I've wronged people, but I've been in the right.
And he's saying that he made his, money fair and square. That's his whole thing. And he gets the very fluid animation in this little part. Mm-hmm.
And the bailiff, this is the first moment of the bailiff being like, Scrooge, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Scrooge is still pissed. He's all like, I've had enough of this kangaroo court. Doofus says that he wants, the record to show.
There is no stenographer. No. There is no record. There is nobody in this room. Like, this is not a courtroom. What is this?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's funny.
And because the bailiff gets a gavel to like shut everyone up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the judge's thing, right? Because isn't the bailiff just the guard who stands there?
Yeah, he's the person who will tackle you if you get too close to the judge.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. But of course, it's a magic court.
Yeah.
And Louie like pulls Scrooge down and tells him to
Wait, I didn't say what Doofus said.
Oh.
That he's not allowed to be within 500 feet of a kangaroo. What the fuck?
Maybe he went to the zoo and like jumped on one.
Probably.
Oh, he went to the zoo and tried getting in a pouch of one.
Oh, he probably did.
Yeah.
So I could see that weirdo.
Yeah, so now he's not allowed within 500 feet or whatever.
Yikes. Yeah. But yeah, then, like you said.
Yeah, Louie pulls Scrooge down and starts like kind of coaching him, like you can't you can't show anger. Like Doofus has like this whole machination going on. They can't play into it by becoming the villain.
Yeah. And he's like, we're dealing with a very sick mind here, and we get this pan to Doofus who's applying like lip balm and chapstick to his whole like face,
like to his beak first, which I don't think they need because it's a beak.
Yeah.
And then all like over his face, like his cheeks and his chin, and I'm just
over his glasses.
Is it over his glasses too? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, sometimes I do want to squish the lip balm, but I don't do that.
I don't even. Why does he have chapstick? Anyway, Louie wants to defend Scrooge. So because he's like, no problem. I've called my way out of worse things.
And Scrooge is like, dude, like you can't even take responsibility for your own actions. How are you gonna be responsible for me?
I thought Louie did that already. I thought we did go through this already with the richest duck in the world, the season 2 penultimate episode. But
yeah, I mean, like the entirety really of season 2 arc for Louie.
Yeah, this episode, I guess we'll just say a bit here, does feel out of place.
Yeah. Like, we do like the episode, unlike the last one.
Yes, which we were very vocal about how much we disliked. Yeah, this was just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just weirdly placed. We'll talk about it later more, but yeah.
So Doofus, without further prompting, calls his first witness. And then, of course, Doris appears again. Yeah. The best character in the show.
I miss Glomgold.
He got his thunder and lightning budget back, which is nice.
I call my first witness.
Little Glomgold!
He bursts in laughing, and then he keeps laughing as he climbs the steps to the witness box.
Yeah.
And I do like the detail of like these things appearing magically as they need them. So there's no door until one appears.
Yeah, there's no steps to even like the witness box until they need them. And Scrooge is already like annoyed. Just straight up, he's like already had enough. Of course, it's Glomgold.
Like,
yeah,
we know it's gonna be ridiculous the moment he appears.
Yeah,
and so Doofus starts pleading Glomgold's case, basically. That Glomgold used to be like a beloved man of the people until he was, until Scrooge interfered and turned him into the twisted soul. Before us. And Glomgold starts crying. Like, he is playing the bit. He has tears in his eyes.
Yeah, and he's like pouting even before he starts crying, and he's just like sadly nodding like, yes. He is the reason I am that I am.
Yeah, and Scrooge just is done. we can call back to Duke Baloney.
Yeah.
Scrooge has had enough of this.
Yeah. I don't know, for me it felt a little meta, just the haven't we had enough about us talking about how I did Duke Baloney wrong.
And like compared to us calling Scrooge out for being a dick to child Duke Baloney.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had it confirmed in the episode, but here we learned that
oh yes,
Duke Baloney did steal, like the money that he stole from Scrooge amounted to $2 million.
Yeah.
Why he had that much money in just a roll of loose bills? That's on Scrooge.
Yeah, like you could have dropped that, you know.
Yeah, he was wandering around in the 1960s. Like that money would have been pickpocketed in seconds.
We said it was probably a pretty good amount of money.
Yes.
But $2 million.
Yep. But
and you couldn't have given him like any. I will call you out, Scrooge. Still, you could have given him $100 bill. It would have been nothing to you.
Yes, you had $2 million sitting in your pocket.
Someone get us in the jury for this.
Yes, case. We'll testify against Scrooge. But Glomgold's like, no, it was after that.
Mm-hmm.
When Scrooge stole the one thing he ever wanted, to be loved.
and Scrooge and Louie look at each other like, can you believe it?
Do you see this fucking bullshit? And the way we get the evidence presented to us is through like a magical television screen.
Yeah.
And we get a reference that I was not expecting. Once again. We get Weber Walters, the news reporter, who is based on the real-life journalist, Barbara Walters.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say we mentioned her way back in season 1, when Roxanne Featherly was introduced.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about how she must have been her replacement, you know?
Yeah, like the news reporter, the DuckTales news reporter replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Weber Walters from Duck Week magazine.
Miss Walters, how nice to see you. Won't you come in?
Thank you. My, don't you look spiffy, Mr. McDuck. Trying to impress me?
So Weber Walters obviously was created in DuckTales 1987. In season 1, she appeared in the episode Sending the Clones, and Till Nephews Do Us Part. In season 2, she was in Bubba Trubba, Full Metal Duck, A Case of Mistaken Secret Identity, and The Masked Mallard. And in season 3, she was in The Golden Goose Part 2. And in Darkwing Duck, she appeared in Up Up and Awry, The Quiverwing Quack, and Paint Misbehavin'. She was voiced by a different character in each episode. Tress MacNeille, Linda Gary, and Andrea Martin, respectively. Ooh. I could not find the person who voiced her in DuckTales.
Oh.
So maybe it's one of those women, but I could not find her voice actor in DuckTales. And she also had a brief appearance in the Boom Studios comics, that's the Darkwing Duck comics, in Campaign Carnage Part 2. Yeah. And she is based, for some reason, on Barbara Walters. And she has the, is it a lisp? Like the Elmer Fudd kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the lisp.
And she's dressed the same way as Weber Walters in 1987, with the very distinctive M-shaped hair, or upside down W, but it looks like an M, and the orange outfit and jewelry.
Yeah, these like big like 80s earrings.
Yes, and she's voiced by Carrie Walgreen, who also voices Roxanne Featherly.
Nice. So she's giving us the rundown that during 1987 there has been Glomgold fever in Duckburg.
I love that's a fun just tie-in because a lot of the like because Glomgold's whole brand seems to be stuck in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
and probably because that's when he was at his height of popularity. And I love that he was popular.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, so it's nice to know he had his moment.
Yeah, we see in this picture that he is this like file photo of him just throwing money off from the roof of a building.
Yeah.
1987 has brought Glomgold fever to Duckburg, and it is contagious, but not deadly. We tagged along with this intrepid entrepreneur on his latest quest to become the world's most beloved billionaire.
And we see that, like, she and her cameraman tagged along with Glomgold on one of his expeditions.
Yes.
Because he was like, he was the adventurer billionaire guy. Like, he was the one people liked. He was the fan favorite.
Yeah, damn.
Which is funny. And so we pull up in this big, this is a yacht, right?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
And it has a name. Stay Glom Golden. It said on the back of the yacht. I'm not sure if that's the name or it's weird for a name, but that's on the boat.
I mean, boat names are always like hilarious puns.
I mean, this one is a pun, so.
Yeah. And they're like going up to this, what's it called? Cave.
Yes.
That looks like a shark.
And there's lots of jagged rocks all around it.
Yeah.
A great white shark specifically.
Yes.
He parks the yacht or whatever, and like Glomgold jumps off and like tucks and rolls.
Yeah.
And when you see his outfit, he's wearing like an adventuring outfit.
Yeah.
He has on a life jacket over like a hoodie and like cargo pants and boots and the baseball hat. Yeah. He's got a full adventuring outfit on.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate the commitment.
And wow, he's ready for action. Because, yeah, he, like, gets down and does the roll, and he just kind of does, like, a power stance as he waits for Webra and the cameraman to get down and continue filming him. Mm-hmm. And so they're here for the legendary jewel of the shark god.
Yes. And, like, Glomgold he is, like, competent.
Yeah.
Briefly. Because he warns Webra of the black rocks, which are booby trapped. There's great whites all throughout the water beneath them.
Yes.
Because this cave is basically water just littered with large stones.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of look like shark teeth.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, shark mouths are weird.
Their teeth will grow forever.
I don't like that.
It's
you guys
great.
know how
It's
I feel
awesome.
about shark mouths.
Yep. Yeah, so Glomgold is leading Webra through this cave, talking about how he's going to claim this relic for the people of Duckburg.
Yeah, and he's very confident. Like, they, like, stop at a point to talk a little, like, you know, like, Webra is like, oh, you know, Flint Hard, you might be, like, Duckburg's greatest adventurer, but they get interrupted.
Yes, by Scrooge McDuck, who was laughing at the entrance. We see him. He came up on his own tiny little speedboat. Mm-hmm. It's economic. And he's like doing flips from rock to rock and stealing Glomgold's spotlight. Unintentionally or otherwise.
But you just may be Duckburg's greatest. Wait, is that?
No! This is my benevolent victory!
And he is in his own adventuring outfit.
Mm-hmm. We've seen it before, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we saw it. We saw basically the same one in the Golden Lagoon of White Agony Plains, and perhaps again after that. And we see Webra taking the opportunity to interview Scrooge. Mm-hmm. Scrooge, who I assume is the richest by this point, still, because he's saying he's not going to give Flintard the opportunity to make him the second richest. Mm-hmm. And we see him take the opportunity to interview Scrooge. Yeah. And now we see what people thought of Scrooge in the 80s. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's like, you know, like, Mr. McDuck, what do you think? What would you say to the people back home who think that you're unapproachable and miserly?
And Scrooge is like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting that the Scrooge that we see throughout all of these little mini episodes.
Yeah, flashbacks?
These flashbacks, there we go. That's the word. This is a Scrooge who doesn't have his family with him yet, so this is before Scrooge, before Donald and Della are even living with Scrooge. Yeah. So it is this very much colder, I don't need anybody and nobody needs me kind of thing.
He's a lone wolf.
Yeah, and we see Glomgold getting pissed that Scrooge is going to steal his spotlight, and he accidentally shoves Webra like almost off the rock entirely, the rock they're standing on.
Yeah, we see this like shot of like she manages to catch on, but this like shark comes up and like almost bites at her.
And yeah, there's also the great whites teeming in the water beneath her.
Yeah.
She asks Glomgold to help her up. Mm-hmm. And immediately like a flip has been switched in Glomgold's mind once the minute Scrooge shows up. He gets crazy paranoid and just crazy in general and accuses Webra of being in league with Scrooge to make him look bad.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna fall for that. Like, I'm just gonna go get the stone and leave you here.
He abandons her to fall to her death.
Yeah, I mean, cameraman, put the camera down, but...
Yeah. You have 2 hands! Put the camera down!
But yeah. And, like, Glomgold is, like, still pretty competent because he gets through, like, the sharks.
Yeah. Until, Scrooge gets to the pillar with the artifact first. Yeah. And Glomgold, not paying attention, lands on one of the black stones.
Yeah.
And there's like a metal booby trap, so I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Who did this booby trap? I thought this was like an ancient kind of temple thing. Like,
yeah.
That was like a metal booby trap that launched him onto another black stone that I think starts sinking. Yeah, all the stones start sinking now. Mm-hmm. Because he triggered like the ultimate booby trap.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just like launches him off and then he lands on another one that like starts sinking. Yeah.
And he, to avoid the sharks in the water, he cartoonishly leaps up to the roof and is clinging to a stalactite.
Yeah. I want to retract my statement because the cameraman does help well.
He did. That's right. I didn't think that too. We apologize, cameraman.
We apologize.
From the 1980s. And I love Weber's ready to just go down with the ship. She's recording, she is filming to the end, to the bitter end, as the stone pillar they're on begins to sink too.
Yeah. First she says, like, in a shocking turn, Flintheart has revealed that he's, like, dumb and he's a coward.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's filming her, the cameraman's filming her, but you can see Glomgold holding on. And yeah, she's basically like, this is Weber Walters signing off for the last time.
Like, and this is the tape, right? This is the 1980s. They don't have digital. Yeah. So that tape's going to be lost forever. I'm sorry, Weber. Your final words. And the stone sinks. Their feet are in the water, and there's a shark coming right at them. Mm-hmm. But Scrooge notices these people are about to be eaten, and he saves them. He swings across the cave with a grappling hook and does save them. Yeah. And Weber, a consummate professional.
She like dries off a little on her legs and she's like, keep rolling.
Yes, I'm gonna interview Scrooge McDuck now. You're the star of this special now.
Yeah. And Scrooge has like the stone like strapped to his back with like rope. And it gives him a new like brand.
Yeah.
Keep rolling. Scrooge McDuck, hermit to hero, the shut-in now shining out. Are we going to be seeing a more heroic side? A sort of altruistic adventure capitalist?
That has a nice ring to it.
So Weber rebrands his whole image, it seems.
Yeah.
Good job, Weber. And they leave Glomgold and they head off in Scrooge's little speedboat.
Yeah, he's just hanging.
And so Glomgold's image is ruined, I guess.
Yeah.
And we get this narration from Glomgold because we come back to Glomgold and the witness box. So we get the origin for why Glomgold likes sharks so much.
Yeah.
3 seasons coming, and here it is.
Explained.
Yes.
So he does like the good old I was stuck there for days. And then he formed a bond with the sharks. Yeah. They became like his friends and his family. We see just this collection of these photo album photos, him, he's somehow got like a scuba suit, and he's riding on the back of one, and then he's like serving Thanksgiving dinner underwater to like a table full of sharks. Yeah. And then he reveals his tattoo on his like chest.
Yeah, he moves the feathers away so you can see this tattoo of like a heart with a great white on top.
Yeah.
But
and he like declares that, it's the closest thing to love he's ever going to know.
Because of Scrooge.
Yeah. The tattoo reveal gets to me every time.
Same. I laughed every time. So the argument that Doofus is putting that because Scrooge stole the jewel and the spotlight from Glomgold, that's what turned Glomgold
even
evil.
more
evil. Glomgold didn't have to go even more evil. Like, he already became Glomgold to get back at Scrooge.
Yeah.
So that was already his plan.
Yeah, he had already made a couple of life choices that led him there. Yeah. But yeah, Doofus's whole thing is that because the spotlight was stolen, that made Glomgold, like, into a reject.
I guess, I mean, he's still the second richest person in the world. I think he recovered fine.
Yeah, and then, I hate the lines that...
I'm trying to skip over them because Doofus, like...
Gets
I think
weird.
I'm no longer entertained by Doofus by this point.
Yeah.
I think Happy Birthday Doofus Drake was good. I was good after that, and I wasn't...
It's the thing that I like him when he's creepy, not when he's nasty. And he's mostly nasty here.
Yeah, he's mostly nasty.
Yeah.
I think he works better in small doses as well. And so there's just too much of him in this episode. But Scrooge does have a good argument that he gave Glomgold competition, and in return Glomgold tried to murder him for 30 years.
Yeah.
As Scrooge keeps sassing the court, I guess. The bailiff magically has a metal clamp appear on Scrooge's beak, so he stops talking.
Yeah.
And interrupting proceedings.
God.
And so Louie gets up to defend Scrooge?
Mm-hmm. To provide the counter argument.
Yes. And we see he has to address... He goes to address the bailiff.
Yeah.
Bailiff's like, nah. The big lady behind me...
is the judge.
Is the judge.
Yeah. He's like, okay, Your Honor, looking up.
Yeah.
And he says, do you expect us to believe that Scrooge is the one that's responsible for creating Glomgold?
That Glomgold made these decisions himself, unrelated to Scrooge. And I'm like, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have just stolen from Scrooge and gone on his merry way, but he decided to create a whole new persona and a convoluted plan to beat him.
Mm-hmm. So. And even when he had the chance to give up the persona and once again become himself, he chose again to focus his life on making Scrooge's life miserable.
Yeah. And failing, as you see, he's currently placing some lit dynamite under Scrooge's chair, and it blows up in Glomgold's face, and it just makes Scrooge kind of bounce a bit.
Yeah.
While Glomgold comes up with a burnt up face.
Yeah.
But that Louie is defending that Glomgold was a villain way before any of this happened. Mm-hmm. And okay, we do see young Duke Baloney, and I'm like, I don't think that counts, but sure.
The statute of limitations. You can no longer bring that case to court.
So Glomgold lands in the innocent scale.
Yes. Which I was telling Anna that it just confuses me personally, because I get that it means that's the evidence that Scrooge is innocent. But my mind is that Glomgold, the person in the scale, is innocent.
Yeah, we were saying it would make more sense if Scrooge was the one that was moving back and forth from guilty to innocent.
Yeah. But alas.
Yeah. And then we get Doofus getting right up in Louie's face and, licking him. Because Louie is, cleaning himself off with a towel in the next cut. And I'm like, what the hell just... happened?
Well, according to the subtitles, it says he gurgles, so I'm assuming he just does real weird things.
Louie is getting he has a whole towel that he's wiping his head off with.
Yeah.
Because Doofus gets right up there, with his tongue kind of sticking out of his mouth. So I'm just like, what is happening?
It's very what's the movie? Horror movie. It's another horror movie.
I can't help you there.
Is it Alien or Predator? I forget which one is that famous scene.
Alien, with the tongue coming out of Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
Somehow more predatory than that.
Yeah. More spit, I think. It's nasty.
More spit than the Xenomorph did have, yeah. And I think there was another little alien on the Xenomorph's mouth, and this was worse.
Yeah. Somehow this was worse.
And so now we see our second plaintiff.
Yeah.
Not the word. Okay, so Luke is... Ma Beagle is our next plaintiff, but before she shows up, Louie tries to kind of brush off the whole court proceeding by just leaving as quickly as possible.
Yeah. It's like, okay, he's not guilty of that, so let's go. Like, court has ended.
Court adjourned. And he starts shoving Scrooge towards the doors that are still there. And two more bailiffs, identical bailiffs, magically appear. So, so the bailiff is some sort of extension of this place. Forgot to mention there's floating hourglasses.
Oh, yes.
Around them. Like, everything's so still around them that I think sometimes that it's like wallpaper.
Yeah, that's
but it's clearly not, because there's like other like scales hanging in the air around them. Like, they're hanging just on one scale. That's where the entire court is taking place, on one large scale.
Yeah. I
think that's the term.
So they have to sit back down.
Yes.
And like Anna said, the next person is Ma Beagle. Who...
and Doofus calls her Scrooge's next victim.
Yeah.
I love it. At this point, neither Louie or Scrooge is taking this seriously, because Glomgold has, there's
no case.
There's no case with Glomgold, clearly. And then we get Ma Beagle, who we can also assume has no case.
Yeah.
Because she also bursts into the courtroom already sobbing.
Yeah. She's like crying, like hands to like her forehead, like she like runs up to the witness stand, like,
I call Scrooge's next victim Ma Beagle. Matron Beagle, ma'am, if it's not too difficult, please.
It all started when I was just a little girl, knee-high to a grasshopper, when my beloved pappy was swindled by the cold-hearted city slicker, Scrooge McDuck.
Yes, and so Doofus asks her to, where were you on the night that Scrooge McDuck first wronged you?
I love it because he's like, if it's not too difficult for you, please go ahead.
Yes, and she's crying too. Yeah. Like, we have the two first villains just going all in. Like, they fully know what role they're playing here. Like, I don't know how they coordinated this.
They rehearsed.
I mean, she fully goes in, and we get a flashback.
So this she says that this all started when she was a little girl, knee-high to a grasshopper.
And I'm trying to figure out when this is set. I mean, based on just like their the general vibe and like kind of their clothes, it seems like the 1920s or 30s.
Yeah.
Maybe 40s at the latest, because we are at Fort Beagleburg, which obviously back in 1800s, the Beagles were kicked out by Cornelius Coote, and I assume at some point they regained control of the fort and the land.
Yeah.
Because this is Fort Beagleburg now.
Yeah. And it must be the old times, because she says that this happened back when the sarsaparilla flowed like the mighty Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm pretty sure they were in California.
Yeah.
Sorry, Calisoda. I'm sorry.
Calisoda.
Which is yeah. So, and we see a couple like Beagle Boys. There are no Beagle Boys. There are no canon Beagle Boys in this scene. We see a couple of them in like full body casts or normal casts, I guess, from arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Pappy Beagle? Yeah. So Ma Beagle's father. Who was the leader of the Beagle Boys. But yeah, none of these Beagles are canon Beagle Boys.
No. God. Kind of hate looking at them.
Yeah, we get like a lot of variation in these designs.
Some of them have real like bobblehead energy to them.
Yeah, it's true. I'm looking at this one little one right here. Yeah.
Oh. But yeah.
Yeah, I like that a couple of them have like little green bowler hats. Since the 1987 Beagle Boys had like green baseball hats.
Yeah.
Or prison caps, I guess.
Yeah.
And here they have more polished bowler hats. We see Pappy Beagle is arm wrestling, like his various sons and nephews and what's-its. Yeah. And he's beating all of them.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Ma Beagle is talking about how, her dad was in his prime.
And we get very young Ma Beagle. She's 10, 11 here.
Yeah.
And, like, her hair is messy, and she has, like, bags under her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, her dress is kind of torn.
Yeah, is that, like, a rope or a belt?
It's a rope belt.
It's a rope, yeah, it's a rope belt. And yeah, I mean, she sounds real sweet. She gets a cup of sarsaparillas drink, which...
Yes.
I did not know what that was. It's kind of like root beer.
I assumed it was, like, root beer.
Yeah.
Like, old-timey root beer.
Yeah. Nasty. I don't like root beer.
Rude.
But yeah.
And so here we get, interrupting their festivities is a younger Scrooge.
Yeah. He is a real city slicker.
Yeah. I guess, he's originally from Glasgow, so I guess that's fair, but he was from obviously a very poor working class family.
Or at least his way of dressing at the moment is very, he's very cleaned up.
Yeah, I mean, this is Scrooge post White Agony Creek, and so this is a Scrooge who has come into some sort of fortune by now.
Yeah. And he must, because he straight up comes in like, who can I talk to buy back this land? Yeah,
because he remembers it when it was Fort Duckburg.
Mm-hmm.
So this obviously skews the timeline of what would have been like the Life and Times timeline. But so he was here at some point after Cornelius Coote reclaimed the fort.
Yeah.
And sometime after that, obviously when Scrooge wasn't here, the fort was again retaken by the Beagle Boys. And he wants to buy the land.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't say land, he says purchase, and he gets made fun of for saying the word purchase.
Yes. But he is here to buy it from them.
Yeah.
But the Beagle Boys are like, yeah, jackass, beat me in an arm wrestling match, and you can win it.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all, you could have been paid for this.
Yeah. Yeah, because he has like a sack of coins.
I know. I love the gold coins.
Same. God.
I love Scrooge briefly interacts with Ma Beagle.
Mm-hmm.
This young Ma. What was her name? Catherine, right? I remember.
Yes, Catherine.
We learned her name way back in Glom Tales.
Yes.
And she insults Scrooge, and Scrooge is Scrooge being like, "Oh, holy shit! This little girl has such a like a potty mouth."
Yeah.
Why can't you say get like everyone else?
Tell that big-time and lily-livered stink-pot Pappy!
What a charming...
And yeah, she's very confident that he's gonna, that they're not gonna lose.
Yeah, so Pappy Beagle says, because Scrooge drops the bag of money on the table, y'all are interested in this?
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay you. I want to buy this land from you.
Mm-hmm.
But Pappy Beagle's like, nah, I'll arm wrestle you for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that the winner gets the town and the money. And he puts the deed down on the wooden crate.
Yes, yes, we didn't mention that.
Yes, the very specific wooden crate he is doing all the arm wrestling on.
And Ma is like, Pappy has never lost. And Scrooge has to be like, yeah, that's the problem with never. It never lasts. And yeah.
And they start arm wrestling and Scrooge starts losing.
Mm.
And in frustration, he slams his hand on top of the crate, and we see the side of the crate starts opening up, one of the lids, I guess, one of the sides of the crate starts cracking open, and he just peeks in, and he sees that there's some sort of contraption going on, because there's a little Beagle Boy,
yes,
who is inside pulling a crank,
that's
tied to some sort of a mechanical thing on Pappy Beagle's arm that is making him super strong. It's a mechanical thing.
Yeah. And so Scrooge sees that, and what he does is that he drops some coins into the crates, and the little Beagle guy gets distracted and he goes for the coins. So he's no longer helping, Pappy Beagle win, and Scrooge is able to overtake him.
Yeah, and when he slams Pappy Beagle's arm down on the crate, like, both sides pop open, and the little Beagle Boy, who's, like, really little but super buff, like, rolls out of the crate, and everybody sees him, and he picks up the money and runs.
Yeah. And, like, I guess no one else was in on it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, disappointed that Pappy Beagle was a fraud.
Yeah, and they all, like, renounce him.
Yeah.
That he's not a folk hero. He's a folk zero. And so Scrooge gets the deed and he keeps his money. Mm-hmm. But then Scrooge has to be a jackass about it.
Yeah. He literally takes her drink, takes a sip, and does like a really obnoxious like, and fucks off.
And just he leaves. And this little brief scene, the scene ends with Ma Beagle starting to cry. Mm-hmm.
What a jackass.
And that's the thing, like, we have this with Scrooge, like, he's, like, technically not wrong. Like, they're the ones, they set the terms, and he won. But but then he has to go and be a sore winner.
So we come back to the court. You know, Doofus is talking about how the Beagle family retreated to the junkyard because it was the only piece of land that no one else wanted. Mm-hmm. You know, that Pappy was humiliated and that Ma Beagle was forced into a life of crime.
And Lady Justice agrees. Mm-hmm. And we see Ma Beagle teleports and she appears on the guilty side of on the guilty scale. Yeah. So saying that Scrooge is guilty. So now we have, like, equally balanced innocent and guilty. Mm-hmm.
And so Scrooge is kind of like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been an asshat to the little girl, but they were trying to swindle me. Like, they were trying to rob me of my money.
And Louie gets up, and he's like, wait a second. I love that they just stopped playing the flashback, and he's like, that's not how courtrooms work. Yeah. You play the whole tape. Mm-hmm. And so Louie gets up, and he's like, wait a second. Keep playing that flashback. Yeah. And we see that Ma Beagle, young Ma Beagle, was already, like, super conniving and abusive towards her own father.
Yeah. Because she's straight up... Because the last thing she says is that, like, oh, I can't believe you. And that's where it cuts.
Yes.
And so we get the rest of it, which, you know, her dad is like, oh, you can't believe that I lost. He's like, I can't believe you got caught. Like, what a fucking shitty scam.
Yeah, and then she slaps him and leaves a mark on his cheek. And then she also slaps someone else. But I'm like, oh my god, this is where Big Time got it from. Yeah. I just remember the Day of the Only Child, where we learn that Big Time is physically abusive towards his brothers. Yeah. And then obviously learns a lesson by the end where he is, like, dropped to the very bottom of the totem pole and can no longer abuse his brothers. Yeah. But this is clearly where he learned it. Like, I'm like, oh my god, she just straight up slapped her father. Yeah. Yeah. And she announces that she's replacing him. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, because she's like, I'm going to take control of this family. I'm going to get the deed back from Scrooge. And she's like, does anyone object? And no one does, because they're already terrified of her.
And then she also slaps another Beagle, like an uncle or something.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah. For emphasis, I guess.
Yeah. Girl boss moves.
Stop. Girl boss, gatekeep, and what?
Gaslight.
Stupid.
Ma Beagle is the true girl boss.
Yeah. They hate to see a girl boss winning.
So dumb.
Louie is like, dude, like, Ma Beagle was already rotten. Like, she was bad from the beginning. Scrooge does not have to pay, like, he's not guilty of anything.
Yeah, like, that is not his fault that these people who were already crazy did crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And so Ma Beagle is teleported to the innocent scale for that Scrooge is innocent.
Yes.
Of his crimes against her. Mm-hmm. Alleged crimes.
Yes. And so Louie goes back to sit at the table. And Doofus is just like a slow clap that like made me
a very prolonged slow clap.
Yeah.
Continues for just a little bit too long. Because Louie's feeling confident. Like, he and Scrooge are like, yeah, right, we got this. Like, like we can't, nothing they can throw at us is going to throw us off. Mm-hmm. They have developed a false sense of security because Doofus's next witness, his final witness, is Magica the spell.
Yes, and this is the first time that Scrooge takes it seriously because as soon as he hears that it's Magica, he's basically like, oh shit.
Yeah, he is worried at once. Mm-hmm. Like, he immediately knows why she's here.
Yes.
And he's like, taking it seriously. Mm-hmm. Not just because, oh my god, Magica's here and she has powers again, and I haven't acknowledged that. It's that I know why she's here.
Yes.
Because we haven't gotten any Magica backstory.
No.
I remember us complaining about that in the Shadow War. I think that was one of our main issues. We love Magica. Catherine Tate does a fantastic job voicing her. She's absolutely insane. Really fun manic energy to Magica that is always fun to see.
Yeah,
even when she's being terrible.
Yeah.
But even with all the episodes we've seen her in with Lena, we have not gotten Magica backstory beyond how she was trapped in the dime. Really.
Yeah, and I think we were just talking that season 1 was about Scrooge, and then it became Magica and Lena. It never really went back to Magica and Scrooge.
Yeah, like where that rivalry came from, why they were fighting on Mount Vesuvius.
Yeah. Why the dime.
Yeah. And here we get all those answers, and they are very satisfying answers.
Yes.
But they also answers that could use more development or be addressed again, but that can never be. So we'll get into that. This was my favorite part of the episode.
Same. Kind of. Same.
Yeah, I think for the most part, because this is where there are finally stakes introduced.
Yeah.
And we see that maybe Scrooge should be on trial.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I saw that Scrooge was like, oh no, I'm like, what did you do?
Yeah, oh no. What did you do, Scrooge? And so we get Magica's flashback.
Magica, when did you first meet Scrooge McDuck?
My beloved brother Poe and I were twin sorcerers in the prime of our youths, ruling over a small town and using our combined powers to make beautiful magic.
And we get introduced, for the first time, we get introduced to her brother Poe as he was as a person.
Yes.
Because Poe Dispel was created and introduced in DuckTales 1987.
Get help! Scrooge McDuck! He's a victim of Shadow too! He will help!
So, obviously, Poe Dispel is Magica's brother, who was turned into a raven, off-screen, and serves as Magica's familiar. He's voiced by Frank Welker in the original show, and he's introduced in the episode Send in the Clones, and would reappear in Magica's Shadow War and Raiders of the Lost Harp. He was also in the Darkwing Duck comic story, Crisis on Infinite Darkwings, and briefly in Dangerous Currency.
Oh.
But yeah, so in the original series, he's transformed into a raven, off-screen, never explained how.
No.
And even though Magica has various kind of transformation spells she can use, she is unable to turn Poe back into an anthropomorphic duck.
Mm-hmm.
And in the episode of Send in the Clones, Magica explains that she needs the power of Scrooge's #1 dime to restore Poe to his normal self.
Mm-hmm.
But that plot line obviously never gets any attention, really, because she's not able to turn him back, and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He's a minor character, who, I'm not sure why he was introduced. It's interesting that they chose to make him her brother, when for as little relevance as he has, they could have just made him Ratface from the comics.
Yeah, because it never, comes back.
No.
Yeah, it never really, I guess, for future reboots, but... yeah.
Yeah, and so Poe, in effect, replaces Ratface in the comics, though Poe and Ratface do appear together at the end of the Rightful Owner's story arc in the Darkwing Duck Boom Studios comic series. Sorry, DuckTales. Sorry, the Boom Studios DuckTales comic. Rightful owners. They briefly appeared together, just like in like the end scene. And I've mentioned before that Magica has a niece called Midas, but it's unknown whether or not she's meant to be Poe's daughter. She first appeared in the DuckTales comic book, the Dime After Dime. So this is DuckTales 1987. She only appeared in one comic based on the show, and not any episodes of the show itself. But she would go on to become a regularly reoccurring character in Magica-centric comics in... Guess where?
The land where all DuckTales creatures are beloved by all. Italy.
Yes, thank you. You need to say what country.
Italy.
Yes. So Midas features there quite often, though also we don't know whose kid she is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's as much as we get from Poe Dispel. Prior to now. Again, we have never seen him as the actual anthropomorphic duck. Pre-Ravenizing.
Yes. But he's not going to stay like that for long.
No.
Oh, Magica and Poe.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. We get this shot of like this very ominous mountain with Poe and Magica's castle sitting right in the middle of it.
And it's like glowing red and has these like two like big amulet jewels like on the side of it, and like the little town is kind of below it in the cliff side of the mountain.
Yes.
On the mountainside.
And we see what I guess this is a trend of hers. The same thing she did to the Phantom Blots village.
Yes.
She and Poe are doing to this particular European village.
Yes. So she says, that her brother and her were twin sorcerers that were in the prime of their youth. And yeah, they were ruling over this like little village. He was the level-headed one. And she was, as she says it, the dreamer.
Yeah, the crazy ass one.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we see Poe has to kind of reel her in. He's still like super malicious.
Oh yeah.
But he's like reasonable about it.
Yeah. Should we describe this
I was about
man?
To say, yes. Well, I was also going to describe like the villagers, like what year, era we think we're in. I was thinking 1800s.
I think so.
I'm thinking 1800s just because these are like some very, very European villagers.
Yeah. We see them with like the bonnets.
Yeah, like very not quite medieval, but
no,
olden times.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So Poe and Magica. So Magica looks the same.
Yes.
But Poe. They went all out with this guy's outfit.
Yes. So he looks basically kind of like Magica.
Yes, they're twins.
They're twins. How to describe his hair?
He has like a kind of raven-looking thing in his hair.
Yeah, like he has like that famous like anime like little stick-out hair that a lot of old animes have, and he has a crop top.
He has a crop waistcoat. Very important.
Yes,
a crop waistcoat.
Yes,
and a long trench coat thing.
Coattails, is that the word?
Well, it's like a full jacket. I don't even know.
Yeah. It's a fancy jacket.
Yeah, and kind of these weird half black spats, like half spats.
Fingerless gloves.
And he also has eyeliner, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I love that. He has like his amulet. Like...
Yes, because he and Magica both have one half of an amulet, and that's where their magic comes from.
Yes,
and they're both green.
Yes, and they're sitting on these like thrones.
Yes, they're in a big they're in their throne room, and they are surrounded by mountains of coins and treasure.
Yes.
And villagers who are coming to them with like offerings, with food, basically with food and treasure. And Magica, we see, is just turning them to frogs, like willy-nilly. Like she and Poe hold hands to like really harness their powers. And she's just like, you're a frog, like Oprah, but she's cursing them.
Yeah. Like they're barely like, these people are like walking in with, because we see them like carrying baskets of like corn. And like, so she's just doing it for the fuck of it, really. And Poe kind of lets her do it a couple times, and then he has to be like, oh, like, sister dear, like, if we turn all of the townspeople into frogs, who's gonna give us the gold and the turnips?
And he lets go of her hand, which is important. Like that's how they have to have like an actual link, a physical link to use their powers to this extent. And I didn't mention that he also has purple dyed in his hair.
Oh yes, important.
Yes, and we see this one village guy like pull out like turnips. Like yes, I grow turnips. Don't turn me into an animal. I have to be a person to grow turnips for you. And Magica's like, we could turn them into turnips and eat them.
Yeah.
And Poe's like, okay, yeah, sure, but what about our milk?
Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, okay, of course.
Yeah, and
the
same farmer guy's like, yes, I have goats that I can milk for you.
Yeah.
Like me, person can do this.
But no, he immediately gets turned into a goat.
Yes. And Magica expects 15 gallons of goat. That's a male goat, unless she also changed. She also changed his gender into a female goat.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume, because otherwise, girl.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, but 15 gallons by sunup, like that's not happening.
That's not happening.
No.
But yeah, Poe is all on board with this.
Yeah.
I'll expect 15 gallons of goat milk by sunup.
What a delightful compromise.
Come, Papa, back to the farm.
Now, what do you say for sparing your goat dad's life?
Thank you, Magica and Poe.
I love even though he's like the reasonable one, he's still insane and malicious. And oh fuck, we did not mention. Thought you'd get away from this. We didn't mention who voices Poe. That is my mistake.
No.
He is voiced by Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
From Sherlock fame, The Hobbit,
Fargo.
He was our token white guy in Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I do like his performance as Poe. I've only really seen him as John Watson in Sherlock and as Bilbo Baggins. And so he's doing there's a fun lilt to his voice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just it. So I probably wouldn't have known it was Martin Freeman if I hadn't been told.
I mean, I don't know. I tell Anna that every time I watch this episode, it's weird to my brain to hear Martin Freeman because I spent 5 years of my life extremely devoted to BBC Sherlock until it betrayed me really badly. So hearing him in DuckTales, I remember when it dropped the clip, right?
Yeah.
I was also in class.
I don't think we were given a warning, right?
No.
We didn't know what was happening there.
No, because he was never part of the main people that people were saying were going to be in DuckTales.
Yeah, the cast list.
Yeah, so I was I think in class or something when it drops, and I was oh my god, it's Martin Freeman. I'm my past is coming to haunt me.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious. And it's funny, there was I remember not gonna get too much into Sherlock, but the cultural breaking that was happening, the period of insanity that happened after the end of the Sherlock series.
Yeah.
And I think if this came out earlier, there would have been more of a reaction to Martin Freeman, but I saw no reaction to Martin Freeman being cast.
I told Anna because I still have Sherlock mutuals on Tumblr.com. And I was I am offended that I am the DuckTales person with a DuckTales podcast, and no one came to me oh wow, Martin Freeman is in DuckTales. Yeah, no one did, but my mind knows.
But
yeah.
Poe was just fun. With his exposed midriff in 1814.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the fan art is out there. I just haven't had it shoved in my face recently. Yeah.
And anyway, so they turn this poor dude into a goat, and his children, his 10-year-old children who are very cute and very sad have to lead their father back home.
Back to the farm. God. and then this so Poe like stands up and he like tells the children like, okay, what do you say for sparing your goat dad's life?
And they thank them.
Yeah.
Because they're like the lords of their village. And we pan back out to the trial and Louie being like, okay. Magica was clearly the worst person ever. Why are we here?
Yeah.
Like, she has not met Scrooge yet. She's clearly super evil.
Yeah. Yes, and even then, like, we end the shot of the flashback with, I'm assuming, are Poe and Magic gonna turn the rest of them into goats? Because they're like, they raise their hands up with magic.
Yeah, with like, to like threateningly.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like,
Yeah,
so Louie's like, why are we here if clearly Magica was already the worst? And Magica says, no, well, because one person, one man, made it worse.
Yep.
And we see Scrooge, like, kind of hunkering down in his seat, in his chair, because he is guilty of something.
Yeah, he knows what's coming, and he knows he was in the wrong.
Yeah, and Louie sees Scrooge's reaction, and he's taken aback. Because he doesn't know what's happening now.
Yeah.
And so we go back into the flashback.
And some time has passed because we see, like, the pile of treasure, like, grow a lot.
I'm thinking, like, 100 years because...
Yeah.
We get Scrooge, and Scrooge in his, in his current red outfit. So this has to be 80s, like...
Yeah.
After the 60s, when he starts wearing the red outfit.
Yeah, and so Magica says, that there hasn't been any people that have been coming to give him tribute, so that they summoned a shadow army to collect the treasures.
Yeah. I assume because they turned everyone into animals.
I think so.
Right? That's
also, if 100 years have passed, like...
Yeah, or they died. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we see this stream of, like, shadow people...
Just looting people's houses.
Yeah, I guess from all over the world. And, like, this particular one dragged Scrooge from wherever he was.
Yeah.
Because it's trying to get his number one dime. I assume because they can somehow sense what someone's treasure is.
Yeah.
And so it knows that the dime specifically is a treasure for Scrooge.
And he's really holding on, and he does not want to let go.
Scrooge is like kicking his shadow self in the face. And Magica goes to, so obviously she and Poe are holding hands to use their magic, and she goes to shoot Scrooge and misses, but hits some other pile of treasure, turning it into like a path pig money
like a little
thing.
piggy bank thing.
Yeah, and it runs away.
Yeah.
And Poe quickly lets go of Magica's hand because she's not being careful.
Yeah. And Scrooge is like, I am the only one that's worthy of treasure.
Yes. He calls Magica and Poe lazy, and that they're using, magic and, like, shortcuts to get treasure.
Yeah.
That he is going to beat them and take all this treasure for himself. Like, this is some classic 80s Scrooge.
Yeah.
Where, like, literally getting the treasure at the end of the day was the adventure.
Yeah. And he's gonna get them with his bare hands. Magica is like, okay, then I'll beat you with my bare hands. And she, like, transforms her hands into bears.
Yeah, like 2 individual miniature bears that start punching the air.
Yeah, which is funny because the joke is usually just hands that are, like, bare hands,
Yeah.
But these are just bears. Yes,
there's bears, straight up bears. And so this is the start of the series of, like, just puns / spells that we get. But it seems that she can't maintain the spell.
Yeah.
Like, Poe, like, grabs her hands and tells her to focus. That to not let herself get distracted by Scrooge.
Just calm down, to just blast magic things everywhere.
Yeah, telling her to focus. But we see, we see her, like, Magica's ego. Like start of it. Like, how it becomes the way it is.
Yeah.
Because she declares herself the most powerful sorceress in the land, and that basically that she doesn't need Poe. And then Scrooge flat out says it, goading her that I don't think you are the most powerful. You can't even finish a spell on your own.
Yeah, he says you're just half of a powerful sorcerer, because he saw that, like, they need to hold hands to finish a spell.
Yeah,
and he tells her that family is holding her back.
So again, all these bits we've seen of Scrooge are Scrooge before family became integral to his life again. Mm-hmm. So before Donald and Della even entered his life. Mm-hmm. And so so we see here like his mindset that family is a hindrance.
Yes, family is nothing but trouble.
Yeah,
and I like looking at Magica and Poe's faces because their reactions are different. Yeah, because her reaction is to realize that family is holding her back, and she gets angry. And Poe looks more like devastated that like he would say that, and that
Magica would agree because she immediately yanks the magical like talisman from where Poe's wearing it on his shirt, and then shoves him.
Yeah, she shoved him to the ground.
Yeah, and then so holding both amulets, she is able to attack Scrooge on her own.
Yeah. Yeah, she's holding one, and the other one is like it hits the thing that holds like her key.
Yeah, it's the brooch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's making like puns and trying to zap Scrooge, and meanwhile turning the treasure into flies at the moment.
Yeah, because she says that he's the fly in her ointment, so buzz off so that it turns into a fly.
Yeah, and then Scrooge is using like a metal tray to redirect these blasts so they don't hit him. Yeah. And one of the blasts goes wide and shatters a window above their thrones.
Yes. Oh yeah,
because which are on a pile of money.
Yeah. More puns.
Yeah, and she hits Scrooge with a blast of magic strong enough to make him drop the tray.
And so he like falls to like the steps towards our thrones and says, that like he's not scared of her with her magical ranting and raving.
And so Raven, she makes up another pun about ravens.
Yes.
And goes to zap Scrooge again. But he gets his number one dime out from under his coat. And I assume he guessed it would redirect the magical blast.
Yeah.
And it does, right back at Magica.
Mm-hmm. Well, it almost hits Magica.
Yes.
Yeah. But Poe, jumps in front of her and takes the force of the blast.
Yeah. Which I found really interesting. Like, he fully and knowingly sacrifices himself for her.
And he gets turned into
a raven with some really fantastic hair.
Yeah.
And we see the raven still has like the big yellow eyes that they have. But he is fully a raven. He's not sentient.
Yeah. Because I don't remember 87. Is he like a...
Yes, he's fully sentient in 87. Yeah. He just happens to be in the body of a bird now. A non-anthropomorphic bird and a different species.
Yes. Yeah. And here he's just a little raven bird.
Yes. And Magica immediately panics because she apparently she can't turn him back.
No. She gives the good old sibling, Poe, stop messing around.
Yeah. When you hit your sibling too hard and they start crying.
Yeah.
Or they get real quiet. You're like, no, wait, no, shit, wait, no.
No. Yeah, because, this whole scene, I think I tweeted and I said and it gives you big sibling, you hit your sibling too hard and you're apologizing, you're trying to make it up to them. Don't tell mom.
Don't tell mom. It was a joke. We were just messing around.
Yeah.
This is my favorite scene of the episode, and I think one of my favorite scenes overall because it's really stark in just how it plays out. So Magica falls to her knees and is pleading with the raven that used to be her brother
to turn back.
Yes, and Scrooge gets up and walks to the treasure. He doesn't spare them a glance.
No, at all. Yeah, and Magica is like on her knees talking to the raven. She's like trying to give the bird the amulet, like her brother's amulet, like put it back on, change back to Poe.
And she apologizes.
Yeah, she straight up apologizes.
Yeah, and then the raven starts flying up, and Magica starts climbing this pile of coins, desperately trying to reach him. He's flying away from her.
Oh, stop messing around and turn back already. Come on, I don't know how to turn people back. I'm sorry, all right? Just put the amulet on and change back into my brother. Please, help! He's flying away!
Sorry, a bit busy at the moment.
I'll give you anything. My powers, my throne, everything. Just help me save my brother!
Meanwhile, Scrooge is standing. He's sitting right next to where Poe is and collecting coins in his hat.
Yeah.
Ignoring everyone. And Magica pleads with him to stop him from flying out the window. Because there's the broken pane of glass.
And Scrooge is literally just keeps piling the coins in the hat and tells her that he's busy at the moment.
And coins fall in her face.
Yeah.
And Magica, she's begging him. She's telling him she'll give him anything he wants. Mm-hmm. Just save her brother.
The throne. Yeah.
Yeah. And he continues to ignore her. It's surprising, like how cruel they let Scrooge. Not I don't know if cruel, but callous.
It's cruel. It's cruel because she's begging.
Yes.
Because like I don't know, like I told Anna, like the first time I watched this, I legitimately was like going to cry. Because also like Catherine Tate's performance is
it's fantastic. Like they actually make me feel sympathy for Magica in this moment.
Yeah. Like it doesn't absolve her of any of her other sins.
Yeah.
But you do feel bad for her.
Yes.
And I love character moments like that because you're like, okay.
Yeah, and
that is fucked up.
Yeah, and this is also pre all the child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so before she became even worse. But yeah, you legitimately feel sympathy for her as Scrooge completely ignores her. He slides down this mountain of coins. He's having the time of his life.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't care. He's grinning and...
I feel like that's what like really did me in. Because he like does he slide on another sack of coins?
No, he just slides straight down.
Yeah, he just slides. Yeah. He slides and he drops her even lower, like further away from her brother.
Yeah. She's losing her grip on this pile of coins and Poe flies out the window.
He flies away and she just again like says I'm sorry.
She's pleading with the bird to come back and she like loses her grip on the pile of coins and she falls all the way down to the ground.
Yeah.
And obviously she blames Scrooge. And while it might not have been his fault that Poe was transformed, because he was trying not to be turned into a bird himself. But it's how callous he is in the aftermath. Like, she is clearly desperate to save her brother. Like, she obviously genuinely cares about him. And Scrooge, we see here, mocks her.
Oh, yeah.
Mocks her grief.
yeah. Because she's literally, like, still, like, on the ground. She is saying, like, it's your fault that he's gone.
Yes.
And he's like, me, like, you're the most powerful sorceress. Like, why didn't you do it yourself? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, like, you could have stopped him. Like,
you could have stopped him.
Just
like,
grab the bird.
Yeah. Like, he was right next to him. But yeah, Scrooge is completely flippant of her own pain and the fact, no matter what she did, like, obviously her grief and pain was genuine. Yeah. And he's completely flippant and just leaves.
Yeah, because he tells her, that'll teach you to mess with Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's his lack of action and his words.
Yes.
Like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, I'm not involved in this, but he, like, makes a point of making her feel worse about it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like...
No, it was really surprising to see that, for them to actually show Scrooge be that selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a nice way without getting into, like, the more horrible crimes of Scrooge McDuck.
Like the realities of capitalism. Yeah, because we're not going to get into those crimes because this is a fun cartoon. But like personal. Like these are like more personal, like actually tangible to children crimes.
Yeah. And like it's like he could have done the morally right thing.
Yes.
Because they're nothing really. Like you can tell that they're like they don't really have a village anymore, probably. No. Like, there's nothing but the two of them, and now there isn't even that.
Yeah, and so Scrooge just straight up leaves.
Yeah.
And Magica puts the two halves of the stones together and to create the staff that we see that she has in the future. Mm-hmm. And we go back to Magica voiceover, and that she searched all over the world looking for Poe.
Yeah.
But she never found him.
No, yeah. She's like, there's a lot of dumb birds out there.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah, so after however long that was, she never saw him again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, maybe I was just too emotional in my feelings, but that scene, I was like...
No, it is, yeah, it's sad. And we see that Scrooge he's fully in the wrong for his lack of action. And this is the whole basis of Magica's hatred of Scrooge. This is how they met. This is why she hates him so much. This is why she's fixated on the dime.
Yes.
Like way back in the first season. And yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I wish we had gotten earlier. Because it explains why Magica hates him so much.
Yeah. Oh, God. And as Doofus says, all he had to do was stop a bird from flying out of a window.
When we see Scrooge looking guilty, and Louie, who's already kind of feeling a little more uncertain, try to salvage a little bit of Scrooge's reputation, asking him, like, you gave that, what about all the treasure? That you gave it back to the townspeople, right? Mm-hmm. And just when we thought this couldn't get any worse.
Yeah, Scrooge is like, well, they were mostly all goats at the time. He's like, oh, but I did spend some of the money to buy them a farm.
Which he then used to profit off of these poor, cursed, and enchanted people.
Yeah.
By selling their milk.
Mm-hmm. What the fuck?
What the fuck, Scrooge?
Like, he fully knew those were people.
Yeah.
I
don't know, I think this is maybe the first time we've seen, like, the bad side of Scrooge's business endeavors, I guess is the kindest way to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, typically, because we've seen Scrooge in the present day, and normally it's adventures with no victim.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is very much... This is full of victims.
Yeah.
I mean, so far in this show, we haven't seen the more morally bankrupt side of Scrooge.
Yeah.
That was obviously all over the place in 1987, more as a joke.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of what he's famous for. Yeah. Like, when you say Scrooge, it's an image.
Yes, and I mean, the comics themselves are based in imperialist ideologies, so there's definitely that as the basis, and then 87 made more light of them.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah, I mean, this is the first time, I think, really, we've seen something that isn't just based around his family, where he is the one at fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have Louie doubting whether they should even try to defend Scrooge.
Yeah, that's what I like. That Louie straight up says, I don't think we can win, first of all. And second of all, I don't think we should try to win. Mm-hmm. Because you are clearly guilty.
Yeah.
At least of this one.
Yes,
one
this one.
1 out of 3.
Yeah, 1 out of 3.
Uncle Scrooge. I never thought I'd say this, but I don't know if I can talk our way out of this one. Or if we even should.
I assume that if you live as long as I have, you make a lot of sworn enemies. But when you rack up enough of them, you do have to wonder if you might be part of the problem.
Louie has a nice moment that I don't think I expected, really.
Yeah.
Because he sees Doofus standing there, and he goes up to him. And he tells Doofus that he doesn't want to start an endless rivalry like the one Scrooge has had with multiple people.
Yeah, by letting rivalries fester and turn into someone trying to assassinate him for 30 years.
Yeah.
So he just straight up apologizes to Doofus for, as he says, like any pain he might have caused him. Because he wants to clear the air. He doesn't want this to be something that hangs over him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And Doofus at first looms menacingly, but then accepts his apology.
And he just thanks Louie, like, thank you, Llewellyn, and walks and just drops from...
He jumps.
Yeah.
He jumps off this, like, the platform that they're on and vanishes in, like, this burst of gold light. Is he dead?
I don't...
Where'd he go?
I'm assuming the light meant like a portal, like the transportation door or whatever.
But there are doors.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very dramatic way to leave.
He just straight jump, gone.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the last we're going to see of Doofus, thank God.
Yeah. What an ending. And yeah, and Magica's like, what the fuck? Our lawyer just left.
Our lawyer literally just walked into oblivion.
Oh my god. Ugh. And Louie isn't used to this feeling, the soft feeling of
taking responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
And so So Scrooge decides to follow Louie's example. So he does similarly. He apologizes to his villains, to Magica, Glomgold, Ma, for wronging them. Like anything they feel that he did wrong against them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be defined by all of the mistakes I've made. You know, I want to be defined by the humility I have in accepting that I made mistakes in the first place.
Yeah. And Magica goes to attack him. Mm-hmm. But before she can, she gets zapped onto the guilty side of the scales of Lady Justice.
Yes. And then the other two, Glomgold and Ma Beagle, also get zapped into the guilty side.
I love that they kind of they literally just fall in. Yeah. Like Magic is upside down for a good bit. And that now, by Scrooge's own admission, he has been declared guilty.
Yeah, so by the bailiff, because again, the judge does not speak. No. He is held responsible for creating his own enemies. And so Flintheart, Ma Beagle, and Magica are entitled to his fortune, the deed to Duckburg, and the #1 dime.
Yes. And is this moment of like the villains all celebrating? They're like they're incredulous. They're like, holy shit. And then obviously Scrooge looking horrified.
Yeah. He's also holding his top hat in his hands, which makes him look even more like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because he was apologizing.
Yeah.
But we don't really linger too long in this moment of Scrooge losing his fortune again.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Again, because this already happened at the end of DuckTales.
Yeah. I think we learned this lesson once before. I have deja vu.
I'm getting deja vu, yeah. So we are at the 20-minute mark. We have less than 2 minutes left. Mm-hmm. And
we have like a minute and like 20 seconds left.
Sorry, yes. That includes, this is including the credits. Scrooge is getting his fortune back. The quickest I have ever seen him get his fortune back, and I am including DuckTales 1987, where he lost his fortune every other episode.
Mm-hmm. And so we're going to try to explain the reasoning the best we can, but to be honest, we're both still confused.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Glomgold says, I am the architect of your unmaking.
Yes, he's hilarious. We love you, Glomgold.
Yes. And Louie connects the dots. And he has a last-ditch effort to defend Scrooge.
Yes.
So he says, that's right, Scrooge created his villains, but at the same time, his villains also created him.
Which, I think we say no.
No.
I don't think that's right, because Scrooge stayed the same through every interaction with every villain.
Yeah.
He became worse with every villain. By the time we get to Magica and Co., which is, I think, the most recent, he's at his worst.
Mm-hmm. Because he says, without his villains, he would have never connected with people, which is, I guess,
with Webra, fixing his image.
Yeah. Then he would have never been one step ahead of the cons and the cheats. Ma Beagle.
Or been humble in his old age, which is him apologizing. But I'm like, okay, Scrooge, you apologized, but I don't think that fixes.
Yeah.
What you did.
Also, we were talking about this, and all of these things, he changed and did these things, connected with people, be better at, adventures and stuff, and be humble, Not because of his villains, but because of his family.
Like, literally, he copied Louie's example. Like, Louie had to teach him to take responsibility.
Yes.
And, like, his family brought him back into... into adventuring.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't think, like, family is worthless, because family is the greatest adventure of all.
Yeah.
Because of his family.
Yeah, not the villains, because as we saw, like, each interaction with each villain, if you look at it chronologically, I mean, he became progressively worse. Because he didn't have his family to anchor him and make him better.
Yeah. He didn't come out learning a lesson, really, as Louie's claiming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Louie's argument is if the villains are entitled to what Scrooge is because he made them, then he's entitled to what the villains have because they made him. Yes. And I'm like, I don't think it's how courtrooms work. I don't think that's how a lawsuit works.
No. I think it... Like, I guess
it's how karmic court works.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Because I guess... things would just stay in the... like... They would have just said that things were going to stay as they were.
Yeah.
But the fact that they say, oh, he also should benefit from the things that's going to benefit you, to me that says there's 4 people in this pool, not 1. But he's the only one. He gets it all back, is the thing.
Yeah. Fastest Scrooge has ever gotten his fortune back.
He didn't even get a chance to, like, really feel...
No, I don't think we even see his reaction to him losing everything. It's a 30-second turnaround.
Yeah. And, I mean, this whole time, like, Magica's just blasting them, and they keep missing, like, they keep avoiding the magic blasts. And Big Moth throws a crowbar at them.
Yes. And, so Scrooge is declared innocent, and he gets, or not guilty, and he gets all of his stuff back. And we see that Lady Justice smiles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, you're supposed to be impartial.
What are you on about?
That's the whole point. And we see again the scales tip to the opposite side. The villains are sent to the innocent side scale. Yes. And the bailiff announced, that Scrooge is reimbursed.
And, I mean, Ma Beagle and Magica kind of put the blame on Glomgold because he gave Louie the idea.
I guess.
But immediately, like, Magica comes up and is like, you're not going to get away with this, and goes to, like, attack them.
She flies up in the air, goes to kill Scrooge and Louie, and then they just get zapped out of the karmic court and dropped right in front of the mansion, and that's basically our episode.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. Like, we're done. Goodbye, everybody.
Because we basically get back to the house.
We get our bookend with the Gribbles.
Scrooge is like, Louie, you learned your lesson for the first time, that though it might be hard and might not be fair, you have to take responsibility. And then Louie is like, yeah, I'm proud of you too, Uncle Scrooge. Like, learning from your mistakes is hard.
You owning up to the mistake now of getting me a Gribble in the first place. And you see the mansion is overrun with Gribbles.
Yes.
And he runs towards the house. Yeah. And that's the end of the episode. What is this ending? We get this, like, 15 seconds, maybe?
Yeah.
Of, like, this returning to the mansion with the Gribbles, and we're done. Roll credits.
To me, it gives me such, like, I don't know why my specific thing is whenever, is he their father? From Alvin and the Chipmunks, when he yells Alvin, it gives me very, like...
What's that guy's fucking name? Kevin.
Did I put Dad?
Yes, yeah,
Dave.
Dad. Dave.
Damn,
I was not close.
Yeah.
I was nowhere near.
I love that his children are Alvin, Simon, Theodore, Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor.
Wait, they're his kids too?
I guess.
But where do they live?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought up Alvin and the Chipmunks. because Magica and Poe look like the villains from the Alvin and the Chipmunk movie. The siblings. Oh my god, I'm so glad you brought up Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Which one? The second one?
No, the animated Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I was scared because I was like...
No, don't worry. Don't worry. You're safe. The Chipmunk Adventure, 1987. The villains are these European siblings. Mm-hmm. Klaus and Claudia. Furstein. And they're like German, maybe? Austrian?
Uh-huh.
And...
Oh my god!
Did you look up pictures?
I did.
Yes. They don't look like Magica and Poe, but it's a very similar vibe of like evil European siblings.
I see it. Oh my god.
I'm so glad you brought up Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, I mean, it gives me the most sitcom ending this show has ever had. Yes. Very like, play us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the episode.
Woo.
All right, let us get into our Twitter questions. From Sexy Donut 666, thoughts on Doofus's adaptation and character as a whole. Also, does your theory that he is an adult pretending to be a child still stand?
Y'all remind us of things that we've said years ago that I have no recollection.
I think we said that. I think I said that for original Doofus.
Okay.
I think. Maybe this one too. But I think original especially, because the original one was a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah, but what was the first question?
Oh, what do we think about his character as a whole?
Oh, I like him. But like I said, I think I like him when he's just kind of being creepy and like
small
kind of cutaway gags.
Yeah. Like in his very, very brief scene in The Lost Lamp, the Treasure of the Found Lamp, where he's wearing those thigh-high roller skates.
Yeah.
And like we get the like dramatic reveal of him wearing them.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Oh my god.
Like, when they just have him be kind of weird and creepy, not the like and nasty. Not the focus. Not like we got there's too much of him here. But I mean, I remember because he was introduced way back in Day of the Only Child, and I liked that they brought Doofus into the show.
Yeah.
Did not again a character I did not think they would be bringing in from '87.
Yeah. I like that he's like, I forget, it's been years since I did the research, but like the creepy child from Twilight Zone like vibe that he had to him. Anthony Fremont from It's a Good Life.
Yes. I like that they made him a villain.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned in original DuckTales, Doofus Drake is just the kids, the nephew's his friend, who they just shit on constantly. And then he himself is also a jackass, though.
Yeah.
So he's just completely unlikable.
Yeah.
And obviously, his character is centered in a lot of fat phobia and constantly making jokes about him eating and jokes about the fact that he's fat, and none of which is good to have in a kid's show or in general. Also from Sexy Donut 666, what other villains, comic or less known, do you think would have also deserved a seat in the karmic court?
Oh. So I was telling Anna that I don't know. I guess, you know, when you're thinking about what's the episode going to be about, I thought to me that it would have been funnier if we had brought more villains in and just kind of did a reference to me to Seinfeld. Because the final episode, the 2-part finale of Seinfeld, is basically like a welcome back to all of the one-off side characters that have appeared throughout like the 9 seasons of the show to appear as character witnesses for Jerry Seinfeld, George Costanza, Elaine Benes, and Cosmo Kramer, who are the main characters of Seinfeld. And they're like shitty people. Like, they just kind of are the worst. And they're in court because they're being arrested for not being good Samaritans. Like, they saw a man get like carjacked, and instead of acting, you know, they just kind of videotaped it and made fun of him because he was fat. So they get arrested, and their lawyer is like, or they're gonna get character witnesses, and all of these people hate them. Like, they're all like, you did something to ruin my life. Yeah. So I'm like, that would have been funny. Like,
yeah, like it would have been like a fun send-off too for, I guess, partly Scrooge, but also a lot more characters. I mean, the episode goes real quick. It's a real fast episode, but I feel like they could have fit more and then left more, and probably leave the Magica scene as it is, since it has the most weight. But like, we could have gotten some more Beagle Boys. I could have gotten Don Carnage being like, "Where's Dewey? I don't know who this guy is." And since it is the Karmic Court, they could even bring in some foul agents and then zap them away just as fast. Yeah. And we can get Phantom Blot. We could have gotten Bradford briefly.
Like, I get the rule of threes. Yeah. But you could have still done the rule of threes, like highlighting those specific people, but done them more like, here we go, in and out kind of character witness in the court.
Yeah, I think that would have been fun. Even some, like, bring in Beakley.
Yeah.
She has some grievances.
Just air it all out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, 'cause this did partly feel like a send-off for these core villains, Magica, Glomgold, and Ma Beagle, who are obviously mainstays from 87. But, I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. From Errant Harpy, if we had gotten more episodes with Poe, what sort of episodes would you have liked to have seen? Oh. At least for me, this ties into... I like the episode fine, but I think our main problem with it is where it's set. The episode feels completely out of place. It is completely out of place with the ongoing plot of Fowl and the finale, which is obviously right after this.
Yeah. I think in our minds, we've placed it season 2.
Yes.
Before Phantom and the Sorceress?
This segues into the next question, Turtle by Turtle Duck Dog 1, asking if we really need this episode. What did it accomplish? I felt it was just more fan service that this whole season seemed to be centered around instead of telling a complete story. As a thing, because Magica and Poe's story is significant. It is Magica's entire reason for hating Scrooge, and we are getting it at the very last second.
Yeah. It doesn't tie into anything that's coming up because we have the finale episode. Yeah, like whenever we talk about this episode, it's very much like we like it. Yes. Some parts of it we don't understand. But it doesn't it's very much like why is this here? Why is it here at the end?
Yes, here specifically. I feel like because we get this very rich backstory for Magica. Yeah. It's very interesting, like, that she has a brother, that she cared about him, and that he's missing, presumably, forever. And I feel like Dipper receiving the negative $12 bill, like, wow, this is worthless. Because at this point it is. Like, what are we supposed to do with this knowledge at this point?
Yeah, because it's not going to impact anyone's actions.
And that's the thing, like, with where it is. If it had been earlier in the season, if it had been said before... I think we focus on specifically Phantom and the Sorceress, because in that episode, Lena has to go to Magica for help to learn magic, because there's no other magic users. Yeah. And if Poe were to be brought back in and restored to his anthropomorphic duck self, he could have been the one to maybe teach Lena and maybe introduce him, bring him into the show as a character.
Yeah, yeah, because as he very much is a cameo, not a character. Yes. I always think of what my brother said after we watch it, because we watch it and then I'll ask him, what did you think? And he's like, it was good. He's like, but he said it was good for character backstory for 3 people. Yeah. And that's really it.
Like we said last time, the lost cargo of Cloud Kicker would have worked as a better segue to the finale.
Yeah.
Definitely better than this did.
Mm-hmm. Even, like, I guess, like, if you really needed it season 3, even flip Kit Cloud Kicker with this one.
Yes. Kit Cloud Kicker ends with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We get the ending with Don Carnage. So yeah, like this just feels out of place.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that no one else was involved, it feels like a filler episode. And it makes me wonder, why do we have a filler episode so close to the end?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
From Ash Fangirl Lisa, we got more of a comment than a question. Scrooge has received a lot of character development throughout the show, but it's especially notable in this episode. The Life and Crimes of Scrooge McDuck does an amazing job of showing us who Scrooge used to be and who he is now. And then from Fandom Geek 2323, do you think that being the luckiest duck in the world, that Gladstone would possibly find Poe? Yes.
I know that's like a popular fan theory, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he could just be like, I guess the way his luck works, he can be like, I wonder where that bird is. Or somebody can tell him, hey, like, ask where the bird is.
Yeah.
And he's like, where is Poe the Raven? And then he'll just like fall out of the sky.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
So yeah, I think yes, technically he could find him.
Mm-hmm. That would, because Gladstone is in Phantom and the Sorceress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could have been like, hey, I found this guy.
Yeah. Found this bird, he's a person now.
Yeah. It's like, because he could have been like, oh, I found this bird. And it's like, dang, I wish I could understand this bird. And it's like, poof, he's a guy now. It's
yes.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Gladstone's luck is very OP. Let's see, from Asimov Fangirl, for their first question. Would you prefer the episode used crimes previously mentioned in the comics, or are the ones in the episode better suited to this version of Scrooge? Yes, the ones in the episode are better suited because his crimes in the comics, as you've mentioned, are steeped in imperialist and racist ideologies.
Yeah, and no, thank you. We don't need that anymore.
No. So
and it would have been jarring to bring them in. Yeah. Really, like no.
The second question: what actor who has previously worked with David Tennant would you have liked to be on DuckTales, and which character could they have voiced?
Oh, I mean, I always have liked Catherine Tate and David Tennant, so that's already good. Yeah. But maybe him and I like Billie Piper. Like I don't know what she's been up to, but I love Rose.
Who would she be?
We'll never forget. I don't know.
Thinking of female characters, there aren't a lot of them in the comics.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm like, what else has David Tennant been in? Oh, I forgot his name.
I've really only seen him in Doctor Who.
Wrong. Good Omens. He's also in
Good Omens.
That's what I'm trying to remember his name.
Oh god. The one who played the angel.
Who played Aziraphale.
Just Google him.
Michael Sheen. He could have been Benzino Gasolini. There. That's...
A British actor is Benzino Gasolini.
He could have... that doesn't work because DuckTales is amazing at getting voice actors. But
what about who's the guy who plays Jack Harkness? He could have been Teddy Roosevelt. Because Scrooge meets him before he's president, and then meets him again when he's president, and they're just like old buds.
What's his name? John Barrowman?
Yes. Because there genuinely are not a lot of characters that have from the comics that have not shown up yet. At least American comics. Italian, as we know, there are leagues that there are endless amounts of comic book characters in the Italian comics. And it scares me how many characters there are. Yeah. Scrooge has like 5 extra siblings.
Stop. I hate that knowledge.
So yeah, that could be Teddy Roosevelt. It's the first one I can think of who hasn't been here yet, or isn't a racist caricature.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or Billie Piper as Mrs. Featherby, who's Scrooge's secretary in the original.
Yes! Oh, that would have been great, yeah.
And yeah, she's the secretary in DuckTales, 1987. In the comics, it's Quackfaster. Let's see, from Smile Bouquet. What did you think of Louie in this episode? I've heard people say he regressed in character by not considering the consequences of his actions in the cold opening. I don't think so. I mean, it's like Tribbles overrunning. It's not quite the same level of threat as Typhoon.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he's regressed because, like, you know, learning to be responsible is something that you have to keep working at, and he's a child, so I don't like put it against him that he has to, you know, keep working at it. But I don't know. It does feel weird for that to be the lesson that leads us to the finale. Like
I said, it just feels it doesn't segue into the finale, and I can't say this definitively, but this may be the first time one of the kids sees Scrooge really having been in the wrong. Like it's not like a accident of circumstances, like Della being lost to the spear of Selene. This is Scrooge directly being responsible for something with pretty terrible actions.
Yeah.
And I feel like this could have served the function to make Scrooge less of this unattainable image that the kids have had in their minds, as we saw very prevalently in New Gods on the Block.
Yeah.
Where they're desperate for his approval. And I feel like this shows them, at least it shows Louie, that he's not a perfect person. Like, he's not this...
He's not flawless. He's not...
A very blatant reminder that he is human, and he does make terrible mistakes.
Yeah.
I feel like Louie did have that moment of that realization. But it is just strange to have it in this episode and have this episode be where it is.
Yeah.
Because this ties into the following question from Smile Bouquet. How good of a penultimate episode would you consider this to be?
Not very good. I love how everyone's coordinating these beautiful segues into questions.
Yes, I know.
But I've talked a lot about this episode's placement with Anna. We both talked about it. It bothers me, the placement, because the pattern in the past two finales have been, before the finale, the child whose season it was learned a lesson.
Yeah, and the lesson and the episode segues entirely into the finale.
Yes.
For obviously season 1, we had the very climactic last crash of the Sun Chaser, segueing directly into the Shadow War Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
In season 2, we had Glomtail segueing directly into Richest Duck in the World, which then segued into the alien invasion of Moonvasion.
Yeah.
And here, there is no transition. There's also no core kid.
Yeah.
Because Louie had his season. He had his arc. He's basically done. And so it feels strange to have no kid be at the center.
Yeah.
And be at the center of an episode that then segues into the, not just season finale, but the finale of the entire show.
Yeah, because it's the two main kids this season are Hugh and Webby, and it's neither of them.
Yeah.
Like, that has bothered me and will continue to eat at me.
And just the fact that on top of that, there's not even a mention of Fowl.
Yeah.
So it does make the transition then to the finale, which is all Fowl all the time, feel a little bit jarring. Like, like our main villains, right, we're back here.
Yeah, especially like you said before, we literally end with Don Carnage being like, I have this piece of the stone, and we're
like,
gonna beat
cliffhanger.
Yeah. And then it's like intermission, and then it's back. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, I like the episode, but in the grand scheme of things, it feels so weird to be at the position that it is.
And our last Twitter question from Sofa Beyond: what are your thoughts on a potential DuckTales 2017 movie? Personally, I think that the Poe plotline could be a good fit for something like that, but that was just my idea when people were discussing the idea after the finale aired.
Oh.
So, I mean, DuckTales is not getting a movie.
No.
But, I don't know, I think the Poe stuff could have been resolved if this episode was introduced and the Pope plotline was introduced earlier.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like the finale does have a lot of questions. Like, it does leave a lot of stuff kind of like, you know, the adventures will continue.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything really urgent that needs to be addressed immediately by a movie. I mean, it would be fun, but no, we're not. It would have already been announced.
Yes. Yes.
Sadly.
Yeah, those are all of our Twitter questions. Thank you guys for sending in questions.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to Tumblr now. So we have a question from Taylor the Giant who says, I've been slowly catching up with your podcast now that DuckTales is over, and it's been making the show feel like it's lasting a little longer, so thank you so much.
Lasting longer for us too.
Yeah. I don't have anything really big to ask about Life and Crimes of Scrooge McDuck, but did it bother y'all that Poe's bang went to the left side instead of the right? Nearly every shot he was in on Magica's right, and it felt like his bang should have been parted to the right too. For whatever reason, it made me mad. So mad whenever he came on screen, so I wasn't even upset when he became a rapist.
That's great. I didn't even. I just knew I decided his weird little cowlick, and I'm like, huh, it looks like a bird.
And I was just like, that's Martin Freeman. That's John Watson. Oh, he has a crop top.
Crop waistcoat.
Great, wait, yeah. Midriff is showing. Is
yes,
the point.
Yes.
Yeah. We have another question from an author who asks, who do you think would be the most likely to find Poe if they actually look for him? Scrooge, Lena, Black-Eyed Beagles, Gladstone, or the Phantom Blot?
Oh, I haven't heard about Black-Eyed Beagle in a while. Probably Lena, just for like plot relevance.
Mm-hmm. Though the Phantom Blot would be interesting because if...
Yes.
Well, we don't know... I mean, Poe isn't magical anymore.
No,
so
but he still had the like orange, like yellow magic eyes.
Yeah.
So
it's the potential for...
Yeah, so if the Phantom Blot like were to drain the magic from him, would that turn him back into a person without magic maybe? Since he is under like a spell.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Once again, ties to the Phantom and the Source.
Yes. Because the Phantom Blot is so underutilized. He should have been able to kill Magica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have a comment from Anonymous.
Ooh. The Goat Dad.
The Goat Dad says, I really hope Louie was not sincere with his apology to Doofus because he of all people did not deserve one.
I think, I mean, whether or not he meant it, at least it gets Doofus off his back.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't want that guy following you around for the rest of your life.
Licking you and... And I mean, I guess I hope that maybe it would lead to him being good, or at least better.
Better, yeah.
Than he currently is.
Yeah, I mean, if he's no longer harboring this hatred against Louie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can get a hobby.
Yeah, he can become more of a bearable person.
Yeah. Who knows? We have a question from Anonymous.
Weber Walters, photographer.
Photographer, cameraman. Weber Walters, cameraman, asks, what characters would you have liked to be called in as witnesses?
I mean, if they were to just do like character witnesses, like not just villains, like Bickley. We could have gotten some obscure guys up in there. We could have gotten Gladstone.
Yeah.
Feathery. I miss Feathery.
Same.
Darkwing. And have Scrooge being like, who is this guy? For a third time.
I think Launchpad would have just been funny.
I was about to say Launchpad.
Donald. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just bring up the whole family in that way.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like, and maybe some of them don't get how serious it is and start just like rattling off their joke grievances with Scrooge, and the scale tips more and more towards guilty.
And then it's like, oh shit, wait, this is serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be funny. Mm-hmm. We have another question from Anonymous.
one of the Gribbles. They gain the ability of cognizant speech.
I love it. Actually, I don't. I don't know why I said that. I don't. When a specific Gribble asks, says first, love the show and your interpretations and analysis. Thank you. Second, do you think there was a missed opportunity to not include or reference the Phantom Blot during Magica and Poe's story? I think it would have been a great hidden detail if he were just a background character, and it would have given him more of a reason to join Fowl in an effort to take down Scrooge.
That would have been cool. I think...
Yeah.
Yeah, cause it would have been Magica and Poe, wouldn't it? Because by the time Scrooge shows up, it's like the 1980s.
Yeah.
And Phantom Blot has a definite medieval vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting if they showed him.
Yeah.
Since it would have been at least around the time when we first see those villagers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
But would he just be in that hood? I don't think he was in the hood before.
Probably not. I mean, I guess you could claim he is there. You just don't know which one he is.
Yeah, we don't know what he looks like. Because then they'd have to like commit to actually creating a design for him without the hood. And his comic canon design is not super menacing or conducive to the show. Like they would do something else. Because his comic design is just like a dog guy with like a mustache.
I mean, he was the Goat Man's son. That's what I choose it to be.
Oh shit! Wait, so he lost his family twice to Magica to spell.
Yeah, he stayed in the village for some reason.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been interesting because there is that connection, and you're like, oh, this is an example of the thing that they did to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible that they probably hit up Phantom Blot's village first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they seem to have camped out at this particular one for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess he knows Pose is gone.
Yeah. He was probably keeping tabs on Magica.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have a question from Milky El Escarabajo, who asks, about the Life and Crimes episode. This episode would have been great way earlier in the season, like episode 4 maybe, before anime girl Lena. Do you have any theories or cool headcanons on Poe? Do you think Lena knows about him since she wanted to be Magica's niece at first?
You said exactly what we said about the placement, so that's fantastic. I don't know. I don't think Lena would know about Poe. I feel like Magica would have to tell her, and Magica was not a sharer.
Mm-hmm. No.
But that said, it would have been interesting if they had incorporated Poe as a recurring character, if they did bring him back. Since he does seem to care about family more than maybe Magica did.
Yeah.
With him not hesitating to sacrifice himself for Magica despite her taking his amulet and literally like shoving him out of her life.
Yeah. Yeah, like they were not in good terms in the 30 seconds it took from I mean, so, it would have brought an interesting dynamic to the whole thing.
Yeah, if he and Magica would have become rivals, and if he did become like more of a healthier uncle figure to Lena.
Yeah, and that connected actually to another anonymous question. But it's just that if we think Lena knew about Poe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. We have another question from Anonymous.
One of Glomgold's sharks.
I love that you said that, and I was mentally hoping you would choose that.
Oh my god, is it Glomgold related?
So, one of Glomgold's sharks asks, so do the sharks like Glomgold back? Can you talk to them?
Wow. I have not seen these questions. The outcome is a surprise to me. I read the Twitter questions, so I don't know what the Tumblr ones say, so this is fun. I do think Glomgold became a shark whisperer.
Yeah, he's like Shark Boy.
What's Shark Boy's origin? That his parents died and sharks raised him, right?
I think so, yeah. And he like grew gills and his teeth grew sharp like sharks.
Yeah.
Damn, I love that movie as a child. I wanted to be. Lava Girl.
You ruined my dream journal.
I don't think it's a movie that holds up.
Oh God, no.
But it has a special place in my heart.
In the terms of like effects or acting or plot, I don't think any of it holds up.
No.
But yeah, no, it's a classic.
Yeah. He can talk to them. They like him. They hang out.
We've seen his sharkas.
Yeah. Fucking tattoo. Jay Sketchy asks, do you guys think that the Life and Crimes episode would have still worked if it had taken place during season 2 for the season for Louie? Or maybe does it work well in season 3?
I think it could have worked in the season if it had just been earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have a question from Toygun22 who asks, I really love Magica, but what I've noticed that after the Shadow War, the creators got really stingy when it came to Magica's appearances afterwards. She didn't even interact with Scrooge much after the season 1 finale, and she's Scrooge's most dangerous enemy. What are your thoughts on the situation?
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of why we think, part of why this episode would have worked better earlier. Because it explains why Magica hates him.
Yeah.
And why she's been trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think like you said earlier, Faby, the Lena and Magica storyline, plotline is very important.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it is important and it should have, and obviously it should remain. But also, like, the fact that they divorced Magica so much from Scrooge is interesting, and I do wish they had more another episode together, since all we have is the finale and this.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this episode made it obvious to me that they had divorced the characters from each other. Yeah. I think I hadn't really realized that had happened.
Yeah,
because like the Magica and Lena stuff is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yes.
it's very interesting arc, very interesting episodes, and so I hadn't really Magica's busy with that.
Yeah,
but this episode served to remind me that Scrooge and Magica are the ones that have the actual rivalry.
Yeah, and especially since Magica got her powers back in the beginning of season 3. Yeah, beginning-ish, and then she didn't immediately go and try to kill Scrooge.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, this was your whole thing. You have your powers back now. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Has she been sitting in her swamp the whole time? Like it would have been fun to have just a Magica-centric episode again.
Mm-hmm.
Like Magica coming after the family.
Yeah. Okay, and then, we kind of just dropped that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a comment from Anna Curl Lady who says, I love that saying Weber Walters gave me a Weber Walters lisp. I love that Weber Walters made a cameo. I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah. I remember I just remember when they introduced Roxanne Featherly being like, oh, okay, no Weber Walters then.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have a little back in 1987.
Yeah.
Weber Walters, the famous reporter. So that was a really nice, a nice little cameo.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes me feel crazy sometimes because it's like, oh my god, it's minor character from DuckTales 87, Weber Walters. She's back.
Yes. Oh my god, 30 years later.
But that's what's fun about the show.
Yeah.
We have a last question from Your Lunar Is Me, who says, hey guy, what's up? I really love your podcast since the both of you are so fun. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
But what do you think about how this ties into the Phantom and the Sorceress? Since here we get a look at what Blood's village may have been subjected to and why Magica was so protective over her amulet. It's again what do I do with this information?
Yes, it's wow, because it is interesting and it is integral to Magica's character, but it comes so late that I'm like, what do I do with this now?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because it doesn't tie to Foul, we don't have so many episodes have the villain and then the foul villain and then the adventure. But this one isn't connected to that, so we don't have the person who you instinctively feel when you see a village being overrun by Magica.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think same. If this episode, if it had been somewhere else, like it could have opened up a lot of opportunities to use Magica better. Yeah, and like actually bring Poe in a capacity that's beyond the cameo. Yeah. And I think the flow and everything. Yeah, I think like Poe were to be restored, and he could be the one to teach Lena, because I think we touched on it briefly in our recap of Phantom and the Sorceress, that they go back to Magica so quickly. Lena's abuser. That actually bringing Poe in and having him and Lena meet could have been interesting. Yeah. I know that, like, we expressed that and other people expressed that you made it so clear what the, like, relationship is between these two people, then you kind of backtrack a little bit. So, yeah, adding Poe would have been, like, a nice buffer. Any more thoughts? It's not a bad episode. We still really enjoyed it, except for the last 30 seconds that confuse us. Yeah. But yeah, I think our main thing is we just wish it had been earlier in the season. Yeah, I mean, I think as a whole, good episode. I do really like Poe. Yeah, I like Poe. It's just it opens to so many questions, and you're just like, I guess I'll just imagine what happens next. Yeah, I guess I'll go to my grave with these questions. Yeah. Thank you so much for sending in questions. Yes. Again, our review of the finale will be split into 3 parts, and it won't be, none of that will be released until we return from Disneyland and I move. Yeah. I finish moving. We'll keep you updated, though, when we send out a request for questions, which will be split up, obviously, by each individual part. Yeah. And you can follow us on Twitter at Amores Patos. And we now have an Instagram, like I mentioned, if you want to check us out. Because I post, obviously, podcast news, photos, and especially from our Disneyland trip. If you want to keep updated on that, follow us on there. You can also follow us and send us questions, comments to our Tumblr at amorespatospodcast.tumblr.com. If you don't have a Twitter or a Tumblr, you can send us questions at amorespatospodcast@gmail.com. And we have a TeePublic store that is always going on sale, and that I am every so often adding new designs. Make sure to buy a Glom I Survived the Glom Wheel shirt, because when Disneyland is open to more capacity, we're going to arrange a Glom Wheel mob there, so stay tuned for that. Special thanks to Michael at Spintrick for our lovely cover art. And that is all for us. Saludos, amigos. Saludos, amigos.